What's going on, everybody? John on here with you. It is a Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. How's everybody doing out there today? This is going to be a great pitching matchup that we have for you. It is Tarik Skubal for the Detroit Tigers taking on George Kirby. And the Tigers are 54 and 60. Again, they're a little bit away from the wild card. Finally trying to start the rebuild after 10 years of failed efforts from MLB. Scott Ayers has his work cut out for him. The Seattle Mariners now, just because the Houston Astros won today in the Battle of the Lone Star State against Texas Rangers, are a half game out in the division. Again, from where the records are between Houston and Seattle, that would put Seattle 4.5 games out of the wild card. Considering where Seattle's offense is, and we'll get to that going forward throughout this broadcast, it's going to behoove them to go ahead and pick up some wins against the Tigers in this 3-game series. They already dropped the opener and against Montero in a situation where, honestly, even as a hometown fan for the Tigers here, I was very shocked, even considering how anemic Seattle's offense can be. This is going to be even more difficult now against Tarik Skubal. And for both of these offenses, it might seem like 2 or 3 runs might be the premium, and the first team to get to that could win this game outright. Those are just the initial thoughts. So, again, as we're at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, the Tigers will lead off. That's the way it works in baseball. The home team goes last. Cooper Hopkins is in the middle of some classes and stuff that he's doing with the fitness, so I don't know if he's going to be able to join in until like the 8th or 9th inning if he does. But I will take you through the whole way. So we're off and running now as Kirby was a 97-mile-an-hour fastball just above the top of the strike zone. It'll be Wenceel, Perez in right, Colt, Keith, the DH batting left, and Matt Vierling in left field batting right to begin the game for the Tigres. As 97 again, just way outside. And this time it's going to be thrown back from Mitch Garver. So Cal Rowley is going to be the DH today. Mitch Garver is going to get some catching duties as they continue to mix that. Again, we'll get into the Seattle numbers as we get toward the bottom of the first. Is really just underway in T-Mobile. Another 98, 3 straight fastballs there from Kirby. And that one was swung on and missed by Wenceel Perez. Pretty good-looking rookie here for the Tigers. 8 bombs, 31 RBI, 25 walks, 71 strikeouts. Still 24 years of age. 98 again in that same spot. So Kirby is dotting right now. And that is followed back by Wenceel. So Wenceel will play in right field. He probably would be an infielder. He's got a ton of speed, but the Tigers need somebody to be able to catch the ball, be able to run out there. So that's why you got his versatility. 1 and 2. That's a knuckle curve way slapped down below, and Wenceel will spit on it. So when you look at George Kirby's numbers, 8 and 7, 3.04 ERA, a WHIP of 1, which is tied for third, 15 walks, 131 strikeouts, does not walk many at all. 98, Wenceel's going to hang in there as that one split the plate. So George Kirby is very surgical when it comes to placing his pitches. And if he was with an offense that would actually score some runs, he would not be 8 and 7. He might be leading the league in wins if he had even just an average offense behind him. And that's saying a lot. It's been nothing but fastballs and 1 slider at 89. Here's pitch number 7. Wenceel launches! Right field gone! Lead-off home run for the Tigers. Wenceel Perez greets Kirby rudely right into the sun as he gets his 9th of the year and his 32nd RBI. That about 360 feet. So that's a good way to get it started for Detroit. That was a hell of an at-bat, but again, it was just 2 pitches that were featured, and the 6th fastball out of the 7 pitches is the one that goes into right field. And I know it's very early. We're just 1 batter into the day with no outs. as the pizza gets flipped on the top. I'm not really sure I like that celebration. To be able to go there with Chris Illich and Little Caesars and all that, but still, I'll have to live with it because Wenceel absolutely rocked that one. But Seattle needs these wins, and the Tigers are a team that they should beat. So we'll talk about that more going forward. So this will be laid off low as Colt Keith will take a slider down. He is the DH today. He is a rookie as well. 22, 252, 11 bombs, 42 RBI, 28 walks, 70 strikeouts. The one thing with Colt Keith is his defense is not his strength. I wouldn't say poor, but I would say below average for Colt Keith on that side. But again, being 22 years of age, you're allowed to be able to grow and not roll a little bit. The Tigers, as long as he can continue to bring that bat, don't think they'll have any problems with that. 4 players with leadoff home runs this year. Wenceel is one of them. This one is right to first. No problem. Turner toss over to Kirby, and he'll get the first out in the second bat. So already 1-0 Tigers, and that'll bring out now Vierling. He's going to play left field today, the righty. 251 for Matt, 13 bombs, 43 RBI, 22 walks, 91 strikeouts for the 27-year-old. Again, he is very versatile. He'll play in the infield. He'll play in the outfield. He was picked up from a trade from Philadelphia not that long ago. And Matt Vierling probably is one of the better players on the Tigers, in my opinion, considering he can still bring the stick, get you probably about 20 home runs in a season, and be able to have a good average and kind of play all over the field. He's got a lot of speed, too, so that is something that they need, as they keep showing Wenceel Perez and why not. He's had a solo shot to lead off the game as Kirby's 13 pitches into his day, and for the curve is outside, 1-1. Again, let me scroll down in my notes. And this side for Kirby, but we'll tell you what he's going to feature today. It's a 4-seam, a sink, slider, split, and a knuckle curve. He did throw one knuckleball, and occasionally he had a cutter just 11 times this year from what I saw from Pitch Savant. So technically 7 different types of pitches thrown this year, but the main percentage is, again, 4-seam, sink, slide, split, and knuckle curve. Anything away from Matt Vierling is his ice cold zones. He's never hit anything on the top left or the top. And that's what they're doing right now with the fastball. So Kirby obviously very smart in that scouting report. 1-2 against Vierling. As we're just underway in T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. John out here with you on the call. Again, I am hoped to be joined by Cooper Hopkins very late in this broadcast. It'll be the 8th or 9th inning, something like that, just for us to get some crosstalk. As a slider way down low. We'll now make the count to 2-2. So Kirby, at least they're making him work in this first. That is what the Tigers need to do. Even if they cannot scratch out a ton of runs, at least be able to make Kirby think about it, because you got Tarik Skubal on the mound. And if you give him a little bit of a lead, you can kind of take a mile there. Another 97. So good velocity here from Kirby, but the Tigers have been ready for it. Again, it's just been fastball, slider, essentially. Maybe one knuckle curve here, but it's been the 2 primary pitches that have been shown off early for number 68. 2-2. This one is on the ground. It's going to be a tough play off the turn. No chance to be able to make the play there. So Leo Rivas really didn't have any opportunity off that spin and turn because Matt Vierling has got too much speed. So he had to really eat it there after partially getting in on his glove as he rushed over from the shortstop position. So it'll be 1 on here for the Tigers after 1 already in for Wenceel Perez bomb. So it'll be Bligh Madris to pick up from the Houston Astros. I think that was kind of a release there for the Astros. It's just his 62nd game in his career. Madris takes a huge cut at 96. He comes up empty. So in his 62 games, and between the Pittsburgh, Houston, and Detroit, he's still 28 years of age. He's hitting 342 with 1 home run and 3 RBI. The 1 home run was actually on the Jim Wheeland day that I was at the ballpark. It was pretty cool. The Tigers did win that one in 11 innings. Joseph says, how do you think Tarik is going to do pitching? And Joseph, I feel like Tarik's going to do pretty well, because when we dive into the numbers at the bottom of the first for the Seattle Mariners, out of 30 teams, batting average for Seattle is 29th. They only trail or they're only just ahead of the Chicago White Sox by 2 percentage points. And the White Sox are just coming off of ending a 20-game losing streak. So I think if Tarik Skubal can get about 3 runs of support here, that might be enough to win the game. That's just me. So going to punch out is Bligh Madris and Gio Urshela will bat right in the middle of this order. It's going to play third base today as they moved around the lineup a little bit for AJ Hinch's squad. 97. That one is swung on and missed there for Gio. Again, the former Yankee, he's been a little bit everywhere here. 244 bombs, 34 RBI, 17 walks, 47 strikeouts. Hasn't played a ton. He's had to deal with some injuries. He doesn't have a ton of swing and miss in his game, which is good. Kirby's already 23 pitches into his day. 96 split the plate, and Urshela came up empty for whatever reason. Again, that was right in the middle. He should have been able to do damage on that. Again, anything way outside toward the left of the box is where Urshela is very prone to be able to swing and chase. The pitch clock down to 198. That busted him inside, and that was very fortunate to not be called. As Kirby continues to have to work through the pitch count, 25 now. They're showing Kerry Carpenter in the bottom of the belly bar, 1 for 4 in his rehab assignment yesterday with the Mud Hens. 1-2 pitch. Fastball. That's going to be followed straight back amongst the screen. And for Kirby, I want to mention this too. I'll scroll back down in my notes in the sense of hasn't given up a home run in over 30 innings pitched. I was going to say that leading in. Well, Wenceel Perez ended that as the first batter of the game. That's why it's 1-0. Vierling will go. He's going to have to go all the way back, though, as it's followed straight back. Season-high pitches thrown in the first inning for George Kirby, because he's going to get set to throw pitch number 27. So whether or not the Tigers pull through for any more on the top of this first, they will certainly take this long inning right now, make him work. Pitch clock down to 5 as we'll get the sign from Mitch Garver. They'll agree on this is going to be a slider way down low. And Gio Urshela will watch this one go 2-2. So again, locally here for me, John, here with you on the call, I have the Bally Sports Detroit feed. That's all I'm going to be able to get today with Jason Benetti and Dan Petrie. If they throw anything across there, they'll let you know about it. You can also listen to Dan Dickerson on the radio side of it. One of the very best, I'll tell you that. In between Jason Benetti and Dan Dickerson, I think the Tigers are very spoiled as far as the announcing. You can say the same thing with Ken Daniels and Ken Cal for the Red Wings side. 2-2. As Kirby threw over at first to check on Vierling. Now I'll get set for Urshela again. And this will be grounded right to Rivas. Should be a routine play. Turner will get it. And it's 1 run. Wenceel Perez with a solo shot and a Matt Vierling single, but that's it. That's all. We'll go bottom 1. Tigers have the early lead.
Save on some of the biggest names in streaming with Xfinity. Plus, get a free 5G phone and our best offer yet on internet and mobile during the Olympic Games only. Get the fastest connection in Paris with Xfinity.
The Mickey Ford Summer Sales event is on. Now, amazing offers and a great selection of Ford vehicles, like the Bill Bally Bronco family, with a deal you just can't miss. Our biggest adventures are waiting. Because of Mickey Ford. Make it yours. Make it now.
AC Plan traded customers in Lisa Bronco Meadows for a big then for only $2.99 a month for 36 months. Only at your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers.
1-0 Tigers. Wenceel Perez is solo home run, and the Tigers lead the Mariners before Seattle even gets into the batter's box. And so here is the Seattle starting lineup, and it's slugging against elevated fastballs. Randy Rosarina 348, 355, right around the league average. Dylan Moore 542, Mitch Garver 444. Ben Moore presented by Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, and Tarik Skubal was his.
Tarik Skubal is going to throw his first pitch for the Tigers here in the bottom one, and that was a strike. 12-4 record, 2.57 ERA, K rate about 30, walk rate under 5%, OPS opposing 576. All those numbers very minuscule. It'll be Victor Robles, Randy Rosarina, and Cal Raleigh. I know Victor Robles is a prime-time defensive center fielder for the Washington Nationals, but he was acquired from the Seattle Mariners. Same thing, Randy Rosarina from the Rays to the Mariners. So a lot of bit different of this part of the top of the order, as 96 is followed straight back to make it 1 and 2. So Victor Robles on the year, 298, 349, and 86 at bats, all 3 home runs with Seattle, 10 stolen bases. So he's been good. This one hit pretty well toward the left field side, just shy of the warning track. And this will be caught by Matt Vierling as Robles will fly out. But that one was pretty loud. They're showing in the mix of the outfield defensive alignment. It has a lot of speed there with Vierling, Meadows, and Perez. So one strength for the Tigers there in a team that needs a lot of work. Their outfield speed's still pretty good. The arms are good, especially with Parco Meadows and center. Randy Rosarina takes a 96-mile-an-hour sinker down on the bottom left side of the box. Jake Rogers going to do the catching today after Dylan Dingler, the Ohio State product's been able to go back and forth in his limited games and his limited bats. He's been pretty good. So Skubal 5 pitches into his day. He's got 1 out. And that is another changeup, 87. That one dive bomb toward the bottom left side of the box, make it 1-1. Randy Rosarina is hitting just 216 this season. 96 will bust him up inside, make it 1-2 on a sinker. Normally, Randy's around 290, 31 at bats, 5 with the Tampa Bay. He's about a 260 and an 80 side of it for kind of like doubles. Someone's average like that. He can kind of get some things done, drive for power. The 29-year-old is a postseason phenom, but you'd expect him to bounce back a little bit in those numbers. 97 on a sinker will get him out. So that was right by in a high sinker, and Rosarina swung late. So that velocity, that pop there for Tarik Skubal at 97 already. And that was pretty fierce. That had a lot of movement toward the right side of that box inside his kitchen. And that forces a Rosarina to punch out. So Cal Raleigh with the DH will be the last hope in the bottom of this first as we get a slider at 89, just outside the zone. So if I have a chance to get to all these numbers, if not, I'll get to it in the bottom of the second as it's 1-0. Cal Raleigh will follow down the right field line, and we'll do it again. So for the Mariners, when you look at some of this stuff offensively, not very good. So 218 team average. White Sox are the only ones worse with 216, and they just ended a 20-game losing streak because we got 30 teams in the league. So 218, White Sox 216. They have 1,165 strikeouts, which is a league worst out of the 30 teams. So their offense is absolutely atrocious. Their pitching, however, is tops. So if they had an average offense, you would think the Mariners could almost have a 10-game lead. 99. This one is a lazy fly ball. Getting over to second, McKinstry call off. Wenceel Perez will make the catch, and the Mariners go quietly 1-2-3 against Skubal. We'll go to the second.
Everyone knows about our no-fee guarantee. Everyone knows the Bernstein advantage. Everyone knows there's always a free consultation. And that's why everyone knows 1-800-CALL-SAM is the best call you'll ever make after an accident. Instant gains from Michigan Market. It doesn't change. Millions of dollars in prizes. It's instant fun wherever
Take your backyard from boring to beautiful with a brand new brick paver patio from We're the Guys Brick Pavers. Get a new patio this month and we'll upgrade your pavers to premium large format absolutely free. We're the Guys.
Chevy lets you begin every day fully charged. So you can go farther. And so can your money. Tow with confidence. Plus, stay connected with technology.
I don't know whether or not YouTube is going to copyright strike anything that's on the commercial side, so I always have to throw the TV down a little bit as far as the volume. That'll give me an opportunity to at least get the box and the full play-by-play as we're going to go to the second inning. 1-0 Tigers will be at the bat. They have the lead.
It's not your typical cigarette. It stinks, but he uses it at the top of the zone, which is a relatively new phenomenon.
Right. And, throwing off that force, but you see it's outside. That's the characteristic.
They're showing the heat map for George Kirby's sinker, and it says courtesy of Baseball Savant. So I guess good thing that I went on there to be able to look that up for the notes as far as prepping for this game, because that's what they're using as well. Parker Meadows, 6, 7, and 8 due up here for the Tigers in the second inning. This is really just underway at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. John here with you on the call. Parker Meadows, it'll be just his 73rd career game played. So this one's hit pretty well. This is going to drop in front of Robles as he has to play it off of a hop. Parker Meadows is on base. Again, 3 for 3 in this series as Jason Benetti throws that out there. So that's always very appreciative. And this is a slider that was right in the middle of the plate. And no problem there for Parker Meadows. The one issue that Seattle has to worry about with Parker is he's got a lot of speed. He always is a threat to steal a base. Again, still a young player, still learning, 24 years of age, but you'd like to see him use that utility a little bit more going forward. Zach McKinstry will be the next batter, and Parker's going to go. He's safe. It was an off-speed pitch. Parker Meadows did go. We just talked about that on that side. Just his 5th steal this season. Hasn't had a chance to play a lot of games. Average isn't all that high, but boy, oh boy, for a big man, he can certainly let go as he launched from first to second, and he kind of was, let's say, 6, 7 steps to be able to get that steal. Kirby didn't do a good job of holding him there. So McKinstry just 182 on the season right now. Again, 3 home runs, 15 RBI, 14 walks, 51 strikeouts. The 29-year-old is versatile defensively, but he's got to be able to hit a little bit more if he's going to be an everyday player. McKinstry came over from the Cubs, being a member of the Tigers now. 2-0, a couple off-speed pitches outside, and now fastball in. 3-0 as we get a little bit of a freeze on the feed, but I think we're okay here. So 3-0 against Zach McKinstry. And George Kirby, as we said, does not walk very many. So that would be something that would be very unexpected. Just 15 on the year against one that's hitting 182. See if this will be an obligatory take. That's exactly what we're going to get here. 96 as it splits the plate. So Parker Meadows, a single and a stolen base. He's at second. So Tigers have an opportunity as Meadows, 93rd percentile in sprint speed. If that goes 0 to 100, that means he is the elite of the elite. 3-1. McKinstry will follow it straight back amongst the screen. So the fans that have those club seats right in behind the plate, they got that big netting over there. 3-2 with Meadows at second. Kirby probably, if he gets out of this whole thing, will be just underneath 50 pitches through 2. That is not very economical at this point. 3-2. And that is a walk. So just the 16th walk of the season for George Kirby, and a guy that was hitting in 170s, and that is not very good there. But McKinstry, at least this will set up the double play. Javier Baez is prone to strike out, and we know that he will chase Just 70 games played for Javi this season. He's dealt with a multitude of injuries. Honestly, the contract has been absolutely terrible. Probably somebody that they shouldn't have signed. I'm just being completely honest. But he can groove one occasionally, and he whiffs on a slider big time. Chase that one. Slugging percentage against righties, that's down and away. That's where that slider was. I guess it's Javi's hot zone at 692, but you got to find strikes there. Everything else is just not very good. 0-1. Way outside on the slider, making 1-1. So just fastball slider predominantly. I think there might have been a knuckle curve mixed in there, but the two pitch mix that we've seen so far early, Tigers have been very patient. We'll see if Baez can do the same thing here. He needs to. They want to make sure they can take advantage of Kirby when they can. 96 perfect fastball. That one right at the belt. Make it 1-2 because, as we mentioned going into this, between Tarik Skubal and George Kirby, these are two pitchers you're not going to be able to score a lot of runs on. So when you have traffic on the base pass, you better take advantage of it. Pitch clock down to 1. And Baez, half-hearted offer. He's going to go grab some pie, and that one right near his face. And he swung at it anyway. So very poor there for Baez. But again, that is something that if you've seen that a lot, especially in Detroit over the last few years, I have been able to watch a lot of the stuff on Bally Sports because of the blackout in between the other 10 markets like Columbus and all that too, between Cleveland and Cincinnati, them dealing with it. Atlanta's dealt with it. It's been a lot of that that's just come back on the air now over the last week. But we know that about Baez. Jake Rogers, 192 this season. 68 games played, 7 bombs, 22 RBI, 12 walks, 71 strikeouts. His power is way down from what it normally would be. Jake Rogers, if he's running right, he can get about 20, 25 bombs. He's not going to hit for average, but he will hit for power. He's not doing that right now either. This is in on his hands. And this should not be a problem in left field for Arozarena. And he will make the catch. So Parker Meadows and Zach McKinstry may be stranded at first and second. And this was first and second with no outs. Wenceel Perez. First time around for him, he had a solo shot after a lengthy at-bat. It was a very good start there for Wenceel. He's going to need to do it again. At least try to get a single, maybe score a second run for the most prosperity. The Tigers need to get runs against somebody like this. Same thing with Tarik Skubal. Don't get a chance to get to them very often. Kirby's going to be 43 pitches into his day. The first pitch into the second effort for Perez. Be the second time through the order. 87 on a splitter. Making 1-0. That was nowhere close. Again, Alec Nava had the game the other day in between the Phillies and the Dodgers. As the Phillies now split, we'll see who wins that series on Wednesday. I had the opener. I wanted to cover this game on Wednesday because of the pitching matchup. Perfect pitch. Splitter again. This one called the outside black at 87. So they show Wenceel Perez to be able to get to that fastball there early and catch the pretty much almost fat part of the bat there and punch that one into right field. So 45 pitches into Kirby's day. Splitter low. Does not get far enough away from Garver to want to have Meadows run, so we'll stay put. Make it 2-1. John Utter with you on the Bally Sports Detroit feed. That's my only one today, being the local assignment. Happy to be able to cover a Tigers game. Honestly, it's been a long time since that's been years, really, since we did something like this. 2-1. Wenceel. Fastball just outside at 97. That's fastball and sinker is very hard to tell the difference to right now. Again, the sinker is probably more of a dot, even though the fastball is kind of the one that doesn't move as much, but those are almost indiscernible to the human eye, at least on the TV side of it. But that at 97, Tarik Skubal around 97 as well. 2-2 here for Perez. That's strike 3. That's a gorgeous slider. So Kirby, it was first and second with nobody out, and they'll stay right where they are. Tigers get one hit, nothing else. We'll go bottom 2.
This hot, delicious KFC meal is just $4.99 all day, every day. Could not try anything this
Oh, buckets are good too.
Yeah, it's some really good.
With generative AI on AWS, companies are already transforming behavior to generate new ideas and turn experiments into reality. AWS is the easiest way to get up and running. So you can quickly build and scale generative AI with security built in. With generative AI on AWS, businesses can push the boundaries of innovation.
Half off every window, plus an extra 22% off for cash, or up to 6 years, no interest financing, and soon, wall side. This is the GMC Sierra, powered by the Turbo Max engine. So you have the confidence of 430 pound-feet of best-in-class standard torque. GMC Sierra, it's the truck. GM employee program participants with a current eligible GMC lease can get this low mileage lease on this 2024 GMC Sierra Elevation for $285 per month. Strike Zone Technologies presented by GMC. We are professional grade.
Tarik Skubal back down to the mound. And he'll face Justin Turner.
So 4, 5, and 6 due up in the bottom second for Scott Services squad. Turner, Polanco, and Dylan Moore. First base, second base, third base. You always like that unique symmetry there, as this is a knuckle curve at 78 you spit on here for Turner. Again, 256 on the season, 94 games played, 7 home runs, 37 RBI, 37 walks, 65 strikeouts for the 39-year-old. A huge cut at 95. And if he would have timed that one, that could have been deposited into the seats to make it a 1-1 game. He's still going to give you a professional at bat, even at 39. He's been, done, seen it all. 98 as this one outside on a 4-seam, so that's the biggest point of velocity right now. Just 17 pitches in the Skubal's days for the first inning, just starting the second. 2-2. See you later. As that is a fastball, uncomfortable swing right on the inside, and Turner is going to strike out. It'll leave it up to Jorge Polanco now, batting 5. So Seattle University prospect Tarik Skubal, and you're seeing his flow. I believe that was in between 2010 and 2015, somewhere around there in the MAC. Big cut there for Polanco. Again, the former Minnesota Twin, now the everyday second baseman here, essentially for the Seattle Mariners. Should have a good scouting report on Tarik Skubal. I don't know how easy that's going to make it, considering how good he is. However, some familiarity, hopefully that can breathe comfort here for the M's, because they need it. This game is still very much in the clutches for both teams, as we're still only in the bottom second, but we think runs are going to be at a premium. Big swing and a miss on a changeup. Again, the changeup, knuckle curve, changeup that was dotted on the bottom part of the belt of the black. Knuckle curve is a little bit off the plate from what we're seeing right now. Hanger, this one is a shallow fly ball, and Parker Meadows has a ton of speed. He's got no problem with that, as it's 2 up, 2 down. And I'll leave it up to Dylan Moore. Third baseman today, 208, 7 bombs, 19 RBI, 16 walks, 58 strikeouts, 20 stolen bags. Seattle University was the only D1 offer for Tarik Skubal. He had a 21-7 record, 336, 221. Opponent averaged 224 strikeouts, 100 walks. So he's really cut down on the walks. He's leapt into this control. He's kept the strikeout stuff. He's been very, very good. 96. This one is popped up toward the second base side. Who wants it? It's Wenceel Perez. And it's going to be 6 up, 6 down for Tarik Skubal early through his day. Colt, Keith, Matt Vierling, and Bligh Madris when they come back.
It's easy to create a dream kitchen with Clearview Cabinetry, offering a selection of finishes made with the finest materials and built to withstand life's sticky messes. Clearview Cabinetry offers features like soft clothes, doors and drawers, and cabinet accessories to match your unique style. These hollow kitchen cabinets are $32.89.99 after 11% rebate at Menards, America's #1 home improvement retailer for customer satisfaction. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Detroit Tigers and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form.
That's the only thing with, I know Cooper Hopkins is busy today as far as the work and all that. If Tarik Skubal keeps this pace up, I think I'm going to be doing the whole game by myself. Not that I mind, but it'd be nice to be able to check in with the young man. And every single day here, as we get closer, we're August 7th now. Every single day we'll get closer to that trip. I think if everything else goes the way that it should, we are about 3 months away from that.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was what we would so much to him in first in its industry history. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support was everything.
We're going to get set to go to the third inning momentarily. Kirby was in a partial jam in the second. He got out of it. He only gave up the solo shot to Wenceel Perez in the first.
So when he saw that he was going to throw at Fenway Park this year, he decided to honor Tim Wakefield with a knuckleball. So when you click on the arsenal for George Kirby when you're on the internet, you see 34% four-seam fastball, 23% sinker.
So here's a pretty cool story because when I looked at it on Baseball Savant and Jason Benetti is saying it too, the one curveball or the one knuckleball that George Kirby threw was in honor of Tim Wakefield when he was in Boston. So this is thrown over. No problem there, Colt Keith. This will be tossed right to Turner. Kirby picks it up and tosses across. And the Tigers get their first out in the top of the third. So Vierling and Bligh Madris, batters 3 and 4, will be due up in this third. George Kirby about to throw his 50th pitch. Really just the first inning was the chance to get it majorly elevated right now. He was in a little bit of a jam, as we mentioned, in the second, but he got out of it with no damage. 96, that's a beautiful sinker. Again, both of these pitchers can absolutely dot. As we talk about, run scoring is going to be at a premium. 1 for 1 with a single in the first, 3 for 6 in the series for Vierling. And that is a knuckle curve. He's way out in front of it down the third base line. Make it 0-2. So Tigers starter tomorrow, the old TBD against Brian Wu. He's got a 2.08 ERA, so Seattle's pitching is absolutely elite from what we talk about, and I will bring up some more of those numbers. Vierling is going to try to settle back in from an 0-2 count. 96 can't be held behind the plate, otherwise Vierling would have been punched out. So when you look at Kirby and you look at some of those numbers, again, we mentioned how awful the offense has been, but Seattle tops in ERA at 348, 391 earned runs, as Vierling able to punch a single on a 1-2 count. He's on base again. So first pitching allowed in hits, just 834 given up. The next closest are the Cleveland Guardians, 48 ahead, 882, and Seattle is also tied for second in shutouts in Major League Baseball with 11. 3 teams have 12. So Seattle's pitching pretty much numero uno, and their hitting essentially is almost 29th out of 30th. So it is a complete disparity on both sides. It's got to make you want to pull your hair out. And quite honestly, as you mentioned, if Seattle had somewhat of an average offense, they could have about a 10-game lead in the AL West right now because nobody's really taking control of it. As it stands, they're half game out because the Astros won the Lone Star matchup today against Texas. So just a half game out, they win today, they'll take a half game lead. These teams in between Houston and Seattle right now, from where their record is, the outside looking in is about a 4.5 game difference in the wild card. So it's probably winning the division at all costs at this point. I know it's August, but that's what you got to think about. Half-hearted flex there for Bligh, and we'll keep this one now 1-2. 56 pitches. Again, Jason Benetti and Dan Petrie on the Detroit side. That's what I have right now. Is I just get Bally Sports Detroit back after the long Comcast blackout with Diamond Sports Group. So I've been able to cover one of these ones in a while, and this is a pitching matchup I couldn't look away from. 1-2 against Bligh. 95. That's it pretty well. This one to get the wall near the right side. Vierling's got a ton of speed, and now this is misplayed on the right field side for Haniger. That was very poor defense there for Mitch Haniger as he played that one off the wall. That was fine, but when he tried to get it back into his glove, he bobbled it, and that allowed Matt Vierling to be able to take the extra 90 feet. And as a result, Tigers take a 2-0 lead. So that could be a double and an E on that side, because when I look at Mitch Haniger go pick it up, barehand with the right hand, he just kind of drops it. And that allows Matt Vierling, who never stopped running, he was hustling the whole way, to take the extra 90 feet. That's costly. So Kirby's given up the second run. And now Gio Urshela, who bats fifth in the lineup today, trying to get his first hit. He will follow that one straight back and amongst the screen. And the slider at 88. So now Kirby would be fortunate if he can get through this to get to maybe about 65 pitches, maybe at the best marker. This is 1 out, top 3, 2 runs already in through 2 1/3 innings. So Urshela now on the 0-1 is the pitch clock down to 196, and too much for Urshela there as he swings late. Win probability already 72% for the Tigers, if you believe in that very early. I'm just telling you what's going across the Bally bar. Kirby now ahead 0-2. We'll see if Urshela is going to punch out here or whether or not he can keep it going. This is right in the middle of the plate with a fastball, and this is followed straight back. So for Gio, 240 on the average, 4 bombs, 34 RBI, 17 walks, 47 strikeouts. 32-year-olds played for 6 different teams. Philadelphia just underway in the bottom first in Dodger Stadium. It's got a 1-0 lead. That is inside toward the hands. Still hit well towards center field. Victor Robles makes the catch. And they are going to keep everybody at second base so the runner cannot advance. Again, the run is probably already scored because of Haniger's misplay. I'm sure they're going to give a single anyway, but maybe even an E on that side toward right field. That's why we have 2 runs. The first run, it was from an incredible at-bat from Wenceel Perez off a solo shot to begin the ball game. That's why the Tigers have a 2-0 lead. Parker Meadows, 1 for 1 with a single and a stolen base so far in this game in his 74th career game played. He'll swing and miss on a knuckle curve. 3 for 5 in the series, but again, just for the season, 170 average. So that's going to balloon that one up pretty good. 0-1 offering, and that is a splitter way down low. Make it 1-1. The one thing I've loved from the Tigers today, and again, I emphasize today, is the patience at the bat rack right now. As Kirby's 64 pitches into his day, they're really making them work. They're being selective. And on the hands, Parker didn't have to offer at it, but he thought he might be able to touch that fastball. He was able to get to it pretty close. Jamming just a tad. 65 pitches now here for Kirby. 1-2 count for Parker Meadows. 1 for 1 with a single and a stolen base today. There is a lot of empty seats right now on a Wednesday. About 7:25 local time for them. And this one is foul. It was a line drive shot down the first base line If that would have split toward the right field side, Tigers would have scored another run. So fortunate that that one goes foul. Should Meadows reach, it'll be Zach McKinstry due up next. So we'll step out, reset the pitch clock now. Meadows will use his disengagement. Again, you get 1 per plate appearance for the batters, 2 per plate appearance for each different batter for pitchers. Pitch clock down to 5. And another splitter. Starting to feature a lot of that against Parker Meadows right now. But the one thing for Kirby is it's not close enough to be enticed to be swung at. 2-2 is the count. Parker Meadows has elite speed. He can turn a single into a double. 96, see you later. Good pitch there on the fastball. Would have been a strike nonetheless. Tigers get 1 more off an error essentially from Mitch Haniger. 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors. And it is indeed an error on Mitch. We'll go to bottom 3. 2-0 Tigers.
So you can go farther. And so can your money. Tow with confidence. Plus, stay connected with available OnStar technology. For summer adventures, Chevy's got you. Or GM employees with a current eligible lease can get this Silverado for around $319 a month. Chevy drives the moves and visit ChevyDetroit.com. We love the time. So enjoy every day like no one else. Just flash your America Bank card to enter the VIP entrance and skip the lines. Get ticket discounts at home games. Get VIP tickets. And save for Detroit Tigers Kids Club memberships. Get the card that gets you what you deserve. Because when it's your bank, it's your mark. America Bank. Raise your expectations. Fire Law, official law firm of the Detroit Tigers. At Fire Law, we wait for our
Again, I will update you in the comments section for the YouTube side. Just throwing this one in there right now as we go to the bottom 3. It's a 2-0 lead for Detroit. And absolutely, they did give an error to Mitch Haniger. That's why the Tigers were able to score another run. Bligh Madris hit a double, but as he tried to get the transfer to throw in, dropped the ball. Matt Vierling's got too much speed. 2-0 Detroit as we go bottom 3. So first pitch here for Haniger. Again, his error allowed the Tigers to score a second run. It's 7-8-9 for Scott Services squad. Haniger, Garver, and Leo Rivas. 87 on a changeup. Haniger wanted all of it. He did not get any of it. 209, 95 games into his season, 11 home runs, 38 RBI, 36 walks, 97 strikeouts for the 33-year-old. His second tour of duty in the Emerald City. Make it 0-2. And this is a very close pitch at 99 on the outside black is Jerry DiPoto, the president of baseball operations for the M's, looks on as Haniger punches out. So probably could have punched out on the previous pitch, probably should have. And then he offered at a 98 above the zone, and Tarik Skubal gassed him up pretty good. So Tarik Skubal has topped out at 99 so far in this game, and that was a 98 way up top of the zone. Too much power for Haniger to deal with. Mitch Garver, 98, splits the plate. So Skubal, a little bit of here it is, hit it. And Garver, slugging percentage right toward the middle of the dish is 1,300. So again, toward the middle is where you would expect these guys to be able to do damage. Now for Garver, let me just say it this way. So last year, 87 games, 270, 19 bombs, 50 RBI, 44 walks, 82 strikeouts. That's what Seattle thought that they were getting, is they had a 2-year signing for Mitch Garver. And going into this, 33 years old, he is batting probably around 160 His power's been sapped. He's been very poor. That puts more pressure on Cal Raleigh. They wanted to use him as a DH. This one in on the hands with a changeup. This is still 1-2. So Garver has not provided anything that Seattle wanted. In the sense also for Jorge Polanco, the pickup from the Twins, they wanted an everyday second baseman to mix in there in between Josh Rojas and Oleg, bring in Polanco. It's 98, and Skubal sends him away too on a fastball at 99. So starting to amp up on the MPH. But Garver's not bringing anything to the dish right now. And considering the way the Mariners have struggled, you can say, John, why don't you go ahead and send him down? Why don't you try to bring in the 20-year-old Harry Ford? Again, I still think he's trying to move along as far as the catching side. You don't want to bring him up too much and take his confidence away. But Garver essentially has done nothing. And that really doesn't help the Mariners at all, considering when we talk about where they are, they really need Julio Rodriguez to come back. They need somebody to be able to jumpstart this offense. See if Tarik Skubal can go 1, 2, 3 again, first time through the order. I don't want to say what's in front of it right now, but kind of looks like Tarik Skubal's featuring that kind of stuff, considering how much the Mariners struggle at the dish. 0-2. 100 miles an hour. This is right at the defense. Zach McKinstry was able to move all the way over 100 miles an hour right down the middle of the plate. Don't really see Tarik Skubal go trip digits, but 1, 2, 3 again. Tigers up 2-0.
Starting strong.
FanDuel Casino is your chance at the #1 pick. Win. The drinks even higher than the 18th favorite, taking you to the front line. On FanDuel Casino Rewards. Free to play every day with a chance at the $2 grand prize.
Chevy lets you begin every day fully charged. So you can go farther.
We'll bring Alec in if he wants to follow along in this game and talk about it. I am watching through this pitching matchup between Tarik Skubal and George Kirby. I know these are probably two teams that you wouldn't expect me to cover that much, but I couldn't get away from this pitching matchup. I feel like it was going to be good. Alec, welcome. I know it's been a while since I covered any of these games. I'm sure you've been a lot busier than I have, but I'm just glad to get back to it. I'm glad to hear your voice.
Oh, I missed you, John. Just came back from vacation, but it's been a while. Missed you, my friend.
Hey, I appreciate that. We've had a lot going on in between the Olympics, everything else, all these sports. We're in the dog days of summer here. I don't want to say what's in front of Tarik Skubal right now, but considering the way that the Mariners kind of run their offense, and we talk about it, 29th out of 30th as far as batting average, they're only ahead of the White Sox, who just got away from a 20-game losing streak. Tarik Skubal's look good, and George Kirby now, in his third inning of work, is already at 68 pitches.
Oh, he's already closing in. He's getting himself a heavy workload thus far for the Mariners. That first inning, yeah, that first home run from Perez to begin with, just felt like it was one of those days for Kirby.
Yeah, he's already at the amount of pitches that's on the back of his jersey. Now he's at 69, 68. It'll be Zach McKinstry, 7, 8, and 9 for the Tigers here. As I'll scrub in my notes, 96 will blow McKinstry away. So nothing wrong with the velocity. But McKinstry, Baez, and Rogers. Again, in the second inning for the Tigers, they had an opportunity in that bottom of the order with runners in first and second and no outs. They could not score. As you take a look at the Bally Sports Detroit feed, Riley Green, they're still waiting for him to come back. That would be a big boon for the Tigers lineup. And hell, Spencer Torkelson has spent a lot of time in AAA. They'd like to get him back maybe as a possible September call-up. Who knows?
How are we doing, Andrew?
And just to clarify, that AAA team's Toledo, correct?
Yes, the Toledo Mud Hens.
Thanks, John. Yeah, just, while we have time here, I just think a round of applause is deserved for the Chicago White Sox for getting a win finally.
They get it on the jackpot. The long losing streak finally over at 21. They were right on the money on blackjack.
I know. John.
And what is that? And Andrew, I was going to say, what does that say? Because I mentioned something with the Mariners. If you didn't know this, Mariners have the second lowest batting average. It's only 2 points ahead of the White Sox.
That almost doesn't feel real at all.
No, they are the best pitching team in baseball, Seattle, and they're 29th in offense in a lot of categories out of 30 teams. As Baez waiting on the 2-2. Again, Kirby has been going around 98. Baez will hit this one toward the third base side, no problem. Toss over to Turner. 2 up, 2 down, top 4.
And for the Mariners, they're waiting on both J.P. Crawford and Julio Rodriguez to come back. They're both on the 10-day IL with finger and ankle injuries. Dominic Canzone also in the 10-day IL. He's dealing with a tie issue. He was just placed on that 10-day IL previously. And Matt Brash, you want to understand was season-ending elbow surgery on May the 8th, but he's been with the Mariners during their current homestand. He's going to begin playing catch in Arizona next week, per reports from Daniel Kramer.
And again, from what you talk about, especially offensively, Alec, those are not small injuries. And Scott Service is going to take whatever utility players that he can bring in, let alone superstars like Julio Rodriguez. And JP is pretty good. But they just need reinforcements to go ahead and hit this baseball.
Yeah, they do need it because you pointed out second worst batting team, only ahead of the White Sox, which is usually for a team that's in the running for the AL West. I would imagine they'd be better on the batting. Because best batting team, you would immediately point to the Houston Astros in the AL West. The Seattle Mariners' best pitching team, you would think that they would be complementing that with solid batters.
That's the thing. If you're even remotely average, you're probably in a good spot. And maybe the Mariners, I know they're half game out right now. If they were average offensively, you would think they probably have a 6 or 7 game lead right now in the AL West because honestly, Texas has had so many injuries and they've been a disappointment.
Yeah, which to speak, the acquisition of Victor Robles made a lot of sense. But I wonder what is going on with Mitch Garver. Last year was 270, now he's a 166. I don't know what happened inside of him to have this type of fall off on the batting.
Yeah, he's looked like an absolute ghost. And again, it seemed like that the 2-year deal they're able to sign made a lot of sense, but you're just not getting anything right now. Kirby's 80 pitches into his day. It's a 2-2 against Rogers. This one is skied up into the air. Looks like this will be a Rosarena. Doesn't know where it is. And this one's going to be a home run.
It went right onto that dugout or the bullpen. The fact that Rosarena just stared at it. Once he knew that it was just up into the air, he had no chance to catch that. It was gone the moment he stared at it. Poor Randy.
I don't know what to say. Again, locally where I am with the Detroit side of the Tigers, I knew that they might score a couple runs here and there. But look, it's 3-0 right now in the top of the 4th. And gentlemen, I'd be lying to you if I said that this probably wasn't the max amount of runs I thought these two teams would score today. And the Tigers already have 3.
And the 5 home runs for Rogers is the tie for the second most against any single opponent that he's had in his career.
So 82 pitches now, and Wenceel Perez, who led off the game with a home run, will take a pitch outside. Again, George Kirby is at the point now, gentlemen, where he could be done with his day as he gets into 5. I don't know how long Scott Service is going to allow him to go. He's 18 pitches away from 100 here, as that one can't be held in the glove.
John, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
With the Flaherty trade, are you still optimistic the Tigers can squeak out a wild card spot, or are you looking towards 2025?
So I'll be honest with you and say the short answer, I'm looking toward 2025. I know Scott Harris is under a lot of fire, but I will say this. Al Avila was given about 10 or 11 years to go ahead and detonate the offense and to kill this team. So I do want to give Scott Harris some time before I throw him into the fire.
It's fair enough.
My other question for you is, in 3 years, do you think Paul Skeens will be on the Dodgers or the Yankees?
Yeah, because we saw that with Juan Soto, correct, right? And
Yeah.
I hope that Pittsburgh, and for Alec and everybody else, I hope he's a franchise lifer for the Pirates.
I hope so too, but I mean, Freddie's on the wall.
We briefly saw this with Garrett Cole.
Yeah.
I hope not, Alec, because I know what, honestly, I don't care if rookie or not. Skeens looks like he might be the best pitcher in baseball already.
I agree.
Yeah, he's giving Spencer Strider a run for his money, and he's not even a full year into the MLB Pulse games.
And then I have a question for you, Al, if you're ready.
Yeah, just right after that swing and a miss to end the top of the, was it the fourth?
Yes.
Yep, just to end the top of the fourth. So, let's go away, Andrew.
If you have to rank Paul Skeens rookie season, Sidney Crosby rookie season, Big Ben rookie season, all for Pittsburgh, how are you ranking those three?
Well, we're looking at dominant rookie seasons for all three of them. And this may come as bias, but I'm still putting Sidney Crosby at number one, also because of my favoritism towards hockey. I'll put Crosby. Then it's basically a coin flip from here between Big Ben and Paul Skeens. But I'm going Big Ben based on tiebreaker. He got the Steelers to the AFC Championship game in his first season. The Skeens, he is dominant in his own right. And I love the way that he pitches. I just wish that he has the batting support right around him. O'Neal Cruz, Brian Reynolds, and Ryan Hayes to back it up. Because those last three that I mentioned, those are the first three that come to mind among key batters from the Pirates.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Now, I'm still keeping honest with my preseason prediction of a Pirates-Orioles World Series. So I am pulling for the Pirates a little. But yeah, it is a little pessimistic with the bats, unfortunately.
I did see Kutch hit a tank today, so that was pretty cool.
True.
Andrew McCutchen.
Andrew McCutchen.
Yeah.
Was 9-8 the final on our loss to the Padres in the 10th inning.
Man.
Make them do 10 innings, but it's always, oof. Whenever you come up short, it's always the most painful feeling, especially when you're watching a team that's up on the rise, but we're trading around 500. The NL, however, really is on a logjam in the wild card race.
And I was going to say, didn't the Pirates try to add at the deadline as well?
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, yes.
Yes. And you know what? I'm not really optimistic about any of those NL wildcard teams. I think you've got the big three who all have shots, and then there's a second tier of teams where you get
Phillies, Dodgers, Brewers.
Phillies, Dodgers, Brewers. Yeah, I think all three of those teams have a better shot and are in a tier above everyone else.
So Victor Robles was the first batter here in the bottom four. This will be the second time through the order. This has been 1, 2, 3 in order so far for Tarik Skubal. So always mindful of that. The one pitch that was absolutely bulleted from Leo Rivas was at 100 miles an hour right to Zach McKinstry. Everything else has been a struggle street right now for the Seattle Mariners. And Randy Arozarena, I just wonder if he can tap into anything that he did with the Tampa Bay Rays, because if he can do that for the M's, that's exactly what they need.
But the Mariners acquired him for his postseason efforts, and while he's struggling in the regular season, he's still someone who can turn it on in the postseason. It has to happen first, so.
Yeah, you got to be able to get there first, and that was a slider outside. This is stopped by Baez, but it's going to be an infield single, and the Mariners will get their first hit courtesy of Randy.
Yeah, bobbled off the shortstop and a reach on the infield base hit. Well, it looked like it was too much to handle on a dive to the right, but once that dive to the right happened, it was a dive to the right, but it was mishandled, went past the catching glove and right onto the right arm no chance there.
And, going back to AAA talk, Alec and I remember Randy when he was playing for our hometown AAA team, the Durham Bulls.
Hey, that would have been fun to be able to talk about that or even watch some of that, because when you watch Randy, like you guys talk about in the postseason, I mean, he turns into an absolute machine. It's so electric to watch. Cal Raleigh, this one hit very well toward the track. Gone! It's 3-2.
There you go. Cal Raleigh up front. Well struck for home run number 24 on the year. The Mariners on the board.
Well, I guess they affectionately call him the big dumper, correct? And he got a pitch right down the middle of the happy zone. And somebody like him that's got all the power, he's going to go ahead and grab that trident. That's just 97. That split the plate. You can't do that.
107 exit velocity. That's 427 feet to center, and Seattle's on their feet.
So
You gotta imagine who
Go on.
was not going to be pitching for that next few innings, or a few innings from now.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here for George Kirby as far as the next few innings. Skubal's pitch count still very economical, although he's finally getting up the first hit. Turner is going to pop this one up. Who wants it? It'll be Bligh Madris, first base side, makes the catch. Again, I was able to go to Comerica Park on Jim Leland Day on the Saturday side to be able to watch the Tigers win in 11. So I haven't been able to cover the Tigers and all that stuff because of the Bally blackout and all that. So kind of happy to have you gentlemen here with me to be able to see this matchup. And 5 runs already through the bottom 4 probably is the high point of runs that I expected here. So we'll see if we get any more.
But yesterday I did cover the second game with the Phillies and Dodgers, and it looked like the Dodgers were going to mount something behind the Teoscar Hernandez up until Edmundo Sosa sealed the deal with some help from a short ball to make it 6-2 on the final. And while Carlos Esteves, he didn't have to make a save that time, he did close it out nicely to hold the Dodgers at bay. The Phillies, they pulled through that 6th inning was their big one. But what stood out to me was Clayton Kershaw is gaining his confidence back, and that's what the Dodgers need to see.
Yeah, and again, you mentioned it with Andrew on this side that you get Jack Flaherty over there. You got Clayton Kershaw. Hopefully you get Walker Buehler back. Again, you guys talk about the trifecta teams in the NL. Absolutely agree, because it covered the opener on the side. I'm glad you covered the second game. I still feel like the Dodgers and Phillies are going to be destined to meet each other in the playoffs.
I disagree with you.
So who's the wild cards, if not the Brewers? So I think it's the Braves or Diamondbacks have the strongest chance among the wild cards, as this was flying down to center.
John, those Brewers are a tough team to beat. I think Contreras is playing like the best catcher in baseball. It stinks about Yelich, but overall, top to bottom, there's not any huge holes with the Brewers. And I think playoff time, temperatures are dropping a little. That Milwaukee winter, it gets a little chilly. I can't imagine the Dodgers are winning too many games up here.
That could happen. I mean, especially, I'll say this, if the Dodgers continue to have as many injuries as they do, their lineup will look a little bit short. I know they're going to get Mookie Betts and Chris Taylor back. Chris Taylor's not having a good year, but they're going to be getting some players back, but you could be right, because that pitching staff is still pretty good. And they laid a pounding on the Braves today. They scored a ton of runs.
Yeah, not to mention about Yoshinobu Yamamoto, their big pitching acquisition from Japan. He's on the injured list. They're wondering when he's going to come back, because that's going to be huge for them.
Will you guys be going live next week for the Dodgers-Brewers games?
We'll have to see if those are primetime games.
Yeah, true.
So first
Philly also have been struggling recently, too. They haven't been the same dominant, clear-cut best team in the NL.
Who has?
The Phillies.
I saw they just won yesterday.
Yes,
right now, the Phillies up against the Dodgers. The Dodgers are 4-1 in game number 3 of this series. It pitching matchup Tyler Phillips and Gavin stone, as they announced it. They're in the second inning, but already the Dodgers, with 2 runs in the first and a base hit that scored in both Barnes and Kiermaier from Freddie Freeman.
So thank you guys for the updates. I'm just making sure I get my story stuff all set up here when we get through it. I'm not sure if Cooper Hopkins is going to be in here, maybe 8th or 9th inning if he does join in, because I know he's working late. We're looking at our local teams, and George Kirby is still out there. He's at 87 pitches right now. Make sure I turn my recorder back on. So 87 pitches here for Kirby. And this one is a slider just down below and called a strike. Make it 1-1 on Colt Keith.
So, trivia question for both of you. Who do you think the worst team is in both the AL and the NL since July 1st?
Since July 1st. Okay, so I mean, you have to. So can we throw the White Sox out of the equation and just not have to mention that?
They're an exception.
I feel like
They don't count in this one.
it's the worst team since July 1st in the AL and the worst team since July 1st in the NL. Is the White
Oh, mishandled ball, and that is going to be at least a double. Ouch.
So Colt Keith, as Randy Arozarena tried to make the play, it went off the heel of his glove. Hopefully, Randy's just acting a little bit and not hurt. I think he's okay.
By all accounts, I believe he's okay. Randy Arozarena, that is tough. It went off the fingertips of the glove. I mean, it was just a little too much high, a little too much for him to handle. So Arozarena, it went off the tip of his glove. I don't think there's anything that he could do about that.
Okay, so I'm going to try to do this without cheating. I have an NL guess that I think is strong, but I don't have anything in the AL. So I'm going to say Miami Marlins in the NL.
Not the Miami Marlins.
Okay, so you guys can hit me with the other teams because I don't want to cheat.
So I'll give you guys the AL, which is the Chicago White Sox.
Sure.
Who's ahead of them on the second worst? Because we mentioned about the White Sox. Perhaps not, we don't need to count them because they're obviously the worst team in the MLB. Who's ahead of the White Sox and the AL?
AL, I'd have to check. But for NL, the worst team since July 1st, we talked about them a little before. You're probably not going to guess it.
Yeah, I may get this wrong, but I don't believe it's the Rockies.
Not the Rockies. I'll give you. They're a part of the poop game.
Oh, but wait, the poop game. Oh, say so. So P means Phillies, the other P means Pirates, and the 2 O's means 00.
Correct.
All right.
Those teams.
I don't want to say the Pirates.
Not the Pirates.
The Phillies.
The Phillies are the worst team in the NL since July 1st.
That makes sense only because I will say, Alec, when I went to the opening, I believe the Phillies, when I went to go cover them, had lost 11 of the last 13. So they've really been on the struggle bus. But I agree with you. I don't think that's going to last.
Yeah, I don't think so. At some point, they're going to turn it around behind Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, and the entire team around it. The pitching staff, I think they could hold up nicely between Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, and all those guys. Christopher Sanchez really broke out this year.
He's a strong pitcher. And again, you still have Strom and some other guys in the bullpen. The Sir Anthony Dominguez trade, I know they got Austin Hayes, but it is pretty interesting, too, because it did help the Orioles as far as their bullpen. It's not often World Series team maybe trades with another World Series team possible.
Yeah, being buyers and sellers going at trading with each other.
And a fortunate strike 3 call for Kirby as Madris has to sit down, and he's definitely got some words with the home plate umpire.
That was wide to the right. It looked like it was going to be another ball, but I think the umpire, they see something which is alterated because for what you see, that's usually a ball 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, I think he had a little too much to drink last night from what I see. Again, I'm just trying to be as neutral as possible, but that splitter was way outside, and now Urshela, that'll be easy for Rivas to Turner, and the double does no damage.
So now that we're over at the middle of the fifth, I know Olympic basketball play has been a topic that has much been discussed around in social media. The Final Four tomorrow, France versus Germany, USA versus Serbia. I think the gold medal match, Germany honestly scares me more than France if I'm the US.
You think so? Over Wemby?
Well, look, let me put it like this. Germany is well coached, and they run a system nicely more often than not. France, they're the tallest nation in basketball, and when they put Gio Urshela on the starting five, which has worked for them in beating Canada, I don't know how that's going to work out against a well-coached Germany team. For France, I think they could give Germany a run, but with Victor Wembanyama, I think, in my opinion, Germany may have the edge based on coaching, which is what matters the most. France has the size advantage, but whoever comes out of this one, I think the winner of USA versus Serbia in the Olympics wins the gold.
So you think we're getting a retroactive gold medal match in the semis?
In my opinion. But I think the USA, it's going to be a closer game than what was seen previously. But I think USA wins by single digits.
Single digits? I see. I feel like it feels like they handled Serbia very well, not the group stage.
So what I think that is because Serbia, they're going to have Nikola Jokic play all 40 minutes on the court. And FIBA rules are more physical than in NBA rules. So with that, Serbia, they also could get hot from three-point range, especially with Jokic. But I think the key here is don't key on Jokic. Take away his options. That's how you beat Serbia.
I think you got a pretty good scouting report here. Alec is Tarik Skubal now going to start his fifth. I think that's probably where I will lean to. I didn't get a chance to watch a whole ton of it over the first couple of games, but the first couple of games I did see, Kevin Durant was absolutely on a tear. It was fun to watch.
He has Olympic scoring record.
So this is popped up straight toward Parker Meadows from Dylan Moore. It'll be 6, 7, and 8 due up here for the M's as we go to our bottom five. This game has been sailing along. Tarik Skubal's pitch count still in fantastic shape, as they just talking about the Seattle Children's Hospital, where all the players be able to give them some signing off some cards. Always very cool to be able to go ahead and do that. Very good for the players on that side. Tarik Skubal, again, his one mistake after an infield hit from Rosarena that Bias couldn't handle. It was a pretty much slider that split the plate from Cal Rowley, made it a 3-2 game. Tigers still up by 1 run. This is probably as many runs as you would have even expected, as Mitch Haniger last time reached out, punched out. This time it's 0-2.
I wonder what is the plan here for the Mariners on offense to tie this one up or even taking the lead with Haniger, the tying run at the plate.
0-2. A wave and a miss on a changeup, so he's had 2 at-bats, and he's reached both times on a fastball and a changeup. He couldn't find either one.
I wonder how this battle. Now we talk about rookie pitchers and how good that Tarik Skubal has been doing. Most of the time, more often than not, we see Skubal being the face among the Tigers pitchers. Imagine that's going to continue on. He's going nice.
And you know what, Alec? I'll just say it as plain as day. I don't know if Tarik Skubal is the modern-day Justin Verlander. However, I don't think he's very far behind. And I understand why Scott Harris didn't want to make the move on him. But at the same thing, I have to say it this way. Scott Boras, as this is laced toward Parker Meadows, he can't make the catch. And Mitch Garver will get a much-needed double. But to continue the point, Scott Boras, free agents generally don't sign with the teams again. My hope is that Tarik Skubal does, because if the Tigers lose somebody like him, who else do they have?
I wonder, though, as we speak of Mitch Garver, this is what he needed to improve on those batting averages. And in the midst of a forgettable season, that's some confidence instilled onto this catcher slash DH.
That's 100 down low that he was able to get the bat head on and groove it to center field. And now Rivas got absolutely robbed off of a skull to hit the McKinstry at 100 miles an hour. And the Mariners are a base hit away possibly from tying this game. And Tarik Skubal has pitched pretty well. So Mariners are going to take that because if they could score 3 runs, that would seem like a bonanza for them. And that is no exaggeration from some of the numbers that we've talked about. This one spiked in the dirt and a good block by Rogers. Keep it 1-1.
Yeah, there's always a danger of the runner on the base stealing the next one should that one be let go. So immediate pounce on it to shut off the opportunity of a storm base.
Pitch clock down to 10. Tarik Skubal trying to get out of a mini jam here as he's been able to feature that changeup and get the batters way out ahead. And Tarik Skubal is topped at 100 miles an hour today, so 87 to 100, good 13-mile-an-hour difference. Make it 1-2. Very tenuous lead right now for Mitch Garver at second. It's 2 outs here for the M's. They're trying to tie this game. This has been a elite pitching matchup between Kirby and Skubal. That's why we tune into this one today. 1-2, 98, balled straight back down the first baseline. We'll do it again.
So a do-over.
Should get an opportunity if Rivas reaches, we'll go back to the top of the order, the third time through with Victor Robles. As the pitch clock is down to 5, Rivas cocks the bat over his shoulder. And he offered, I believe, yes he did. He swung and missed on a changeup, and Skubal gets out of it. Still 3-2.
He just got enough of that one to be counted as a strike. So 3-2, we still have the Tigers leading at into the 6th. That was enough of it to be counted as a strike.
I know this weekend I'll probably try to go ahead and get another baseball game in, but as far as next week, I might have to be early because I think I'm going to be going to MIS again in Brooklyn, Michigan to check out the race. I usually go once a year for the NASCAR race. Again, I'm not a huge NASCAR fan, but it is nice to be able to go and check some of the stuff out. When I went last year, it was rain, so I didn't get to see much racing. And by the time that they go ahead and clean the track, when they get all that stuff out there, it takes about an hour and 20 minutes, and then it rained 15 minutes after. So hopefully I don't get caught in a downpour again.
Oh, yeah, those jet dryers.
Hi, John.
Those jet dryers can take up to 90 minutes, I believe, on cleaning up the track.
Yes.
But after a sequence of rain, I thought there was some over Richmond, but no, it wasn't. It was not rain that time around. But Michigan, for this 2-mile speedway, it's always fun to watch on these types of tracks. While it's not restrictor plate racing, the 2 miles or more, that is a type of super speedway. It's an augmented super speedway in which they're going to be at in Michigan right after the race, I believe, over at Richmond. Yeah, it is Richmond on their next race, but Michigan, that's going to be an interesting one. And for Chris Buescher to go back-to-back in Michigan after a breakout year last year, that could be huge for him and his team at Roush, Fenway, Keselowski.
Yeah.
John?
Yes.
Who's your college football team again?
Michigan.
Michigan, not EMU or the Chippewas?
No, because I went to Oakland University, Golden Grizzlies, and they don't have a football team. So everybody else in my family is basically Michigan, so that's kind of where I am. If I root for anything Spartans inside this house, my stepdad would pretty much shoot me in the head. So it's not going to happen.
But you didn't like, the Western Michigan Chippewas?
No, I do. I do. I root for those teams. I just don't root for the Spartans.
Okay, it's not the Spartans.
That's just where I am with that. Although I will say, as far as Michigan and Orgy, their quarterback and all of that, we'll see how that ends up working out because you go from JJ to that. I mean, that's a big drop-off.
You think that's a big drop-off? You don't think JJ was a play-action merchant last year?
The only reason I say it this way because I don't know who Alex Orgy is. We haven't even really seen him throw the ball.
Fair enough. Well, you get to see him just as we get the first out.
You want to guarantee you something, John?
What's that?
He's going to be Kyle McCord.
Hey, if you're going to give me any good names and work out well, I will take it. Parker Meadows almost beat JT Chargois right to the bag, but it is one up, one down. It will be Zach McKinstry due up next.
It was a sprint to the first base right after that first bat.
And are you making that to the big house at all this year?
I haven't been to the big house in several years. Like right now, I'm 37. I would probably say I was maybe there about 12 years ago. And I think the last time I was is when they played EMU. And the only reason I'm going to say it this way is this goes foul. Because again, I have cerebral palsy. It's not that far. It's not that hard to get down there. But when you're dealing with like 10,000 people at the big house, and I went it with EMU, it was sold out when I went and watched EMU.
Yeah. Oh, that's
There was a lot of people down there all the time.
Just a lot.
So Zach
for
McKinstry.
you, Alfred. Do you plan on going to any football games this fall?
Football game. I gotta wonder what's available around right nearby. Whether it be UNC or NC State, I'm down for either.
Yeah. But who's your college team again now? It was Clemson for a bit, right?
Well, I left them.
You left them? What about the Panthers? Pitt Panthers?
I followed them.
Followed?
I don't have a true team in which I picked, honestly, but I follow Pitt from time to time.
Different time to time. Fair enough. But
So Chargois, 7 pitches into his day. McKinstry's still waiting on a 2-2. He's trying to hang in there enough. We're in the top of the 6th at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington, in the Emerald City. It's been a pretty good game so far. I've been fortunate over the last couple as this one bounces, stays in front of Mitch, and we'll do it again, full count.
Well, there's one of those pitches in which it just bounces off the dirt and then goes right onto the catcher. Not often do you see that, but things can go right, but that time it was handled nicely.
Yeah, especially when you got runners on base, you don't want to deal with that. But McKinstry offers it a pitch nowhere close. And Chargois going to get a punch out here. So that is going to leave it up to batter number 8 for the Tigers. And I'll pull this back up here for Javier Baez. The only reason he is in the 8th spot is because Jake Rogers is doing the catching today. But Rogers got rewarded because the last time he was up, he had a home run, which gave the Tigers a 3-0 lead until the other catcher, Kel Raleigh, made it 3-2. That's where we are right now. Top 6, 2 outs. Javier Baez, 96, perfect pitch on a sinker. Gets the call, 0-1.
On the left line as well. Just left Baez confused about if he wanted to offer it or not.
And there really wasn't much he could do there. And the slider way down low. Again, it's been a lot of fastball slider in between Kirby and Chargois. We'll see who throws for the Tigers moving forward here. But Tarik Skubal, you would think at least maybe even 6 or 7 the way that he's been going right now. His pitch count is in excellent shape. As Baez, he goes golfing on a slider here, make it 1-2.
Well, for Baez, there's some point where he has to turn things around because the struggles dating back to his Mets days, I wonder when he's going to overcome those demons.
And Alec, I think I have to say this as plain as day. We already know this now, and this goes without saying. He's not the player he was with the Chicago Cubs when he already had swing and miss and won a World Series, but he's playing like this. The only reason right now he's in the lineup is because of his contract.
It pains me he's saying that about the contract situation, but the fact of the matter is that when you have a player being paid that much, you would imagine that he's going to turn around those struggles and make that into a positive.
Yeah, because he's had over $30 million a year. He will draw a walk. That is very uncommon for Javier Baez. Again, I'm not trying to be critical, but doesn't do that very often. So Tigers will take that, and we'll leave it up to Jake Rogers. He'll get one more opportunity here in the top 6 or 2 outs.
Yeah, for Jake Rogers, now being 9th in the batting order going up, this puts him in that position.
Rogers gets another swing. This one is not going to be a home run. This is going to be a Canacorn to Haniger. Easy play. Tigers go quietly, still 3-2. We'll go bottom 6 when we come back.
Robles, Arozarena, Raleigh being the next 3 up for the Mariners once they get back onto the bats. Still with the tying run over the plate.
So I know you said you just come back from vacation, Alec, but I know it's been a while. How are you doing? Give me an update. What's been going on?
Life's been going good. So the vacation over at Houston, well, spend time with family and everything. Even took some chances flying in my drone around, just taking the skyline of Houston,
cool.
but also previously I took some video of the skyline of Raleigh, and we also went bowling together among the family.
Very cool. So you sound like you kept yourself very busy. Again, I'm just trying to get back in the swing of things myself. I mean, it's hard to believe, Alec, but we're really only a couple months away before the puck drops again.
I mean, 2 more months. We'll hang in there, and wonder at what point this team's planning for Stanley Cup celebrations. If they win the Stanley Cup, what would it be like, and where would they start partying around? Because I imagine the Florida Panthers, they may be starting to think about the season thus far, even though they're celebrating. They'll be opening the season up against the Boston Bruins.
So let me ask you this, Alec, and again, I don't want to try to turn this into a controversy, but we do have to give our own thoughts. I was not able to get to the trade deadline show or any of that stuff, unfortunately, this year, but something did catch my eye, and I wasn't particularly happy with it. So we thought that Ken Holland might be done on his way out for Edmonton because he was already kind of out the door. He did a good job toward the end of it, and they got to the Stanley Cup final. But honestly, Alec, I couldn't believe it. Stan Bowman now is the GM.
Deep sigh.
Right.
That's all I'll say, sir.
That's
Controversy aside, Bowman is the last person I would want to hire as a general manager of a team. Even with the controversy and the cover in which he has, he's not the guy that you would want to have if you're competing for a Stanley Cup. I get that the Oilers signed Victor Arvidsson, Jeff Skinner on the team. I get that. The Bowman hiring, I don't understand. Jeff Jackson did himself a good job in the offseason up until the Bowman hiring. It just doesn't make sense whatsoever. And to me, it feels like I felt that the Oilers, they were one step away from winning it all. And then I think this move showed to me that the Oilers are not a serious hockey team.
You know what? I could take that 50-50 because I agree with you on the Jeff Jackson signing there for Skinner and Arvidsson. I thought that was great. I thought the pieces that they needed. And then you made that move and you go and you throw some bad publicity on yourself. So I'll take that 50-50 and say that I agree with you. I thought it was just a very curious signing on their part. So Tarik Skubal already eats up Victor Robles for dinner here on an off-speed pitch down below. And then he'll go back toward the top of the order again. So Robles punches out. That'll be Randy Arozarena. He tried to make a diving play. Last time went off his glove, but the Tigers didn't score anything from that. Arozarena 1 for 2 had an infield hit, and then Raleigh scored off a 2-run shot. So Randy 1 for 2 in this game, 97 inside the kitchen.
Take it out the way, move backwards for zips.
And Alec, was this family when you were in Houston? Were you visiting your family from Mexico?
Yeah, it was.
So they came up and visited you halfway?
Now there's part of my family that lives in Houston.
Oh, okay. And do you still have family in Kansas City?
No. Well, no, because my dad's back.
Oh, and is your dad retired or is he still working?
Retired.
Living the life.
Yep.
It's not a bad game for Randy Arozarena right now. He's got a single and a walk, and now Cal Raleigh's got an opportunity to do what he did the last time he was up.
Never a bad idea to alternate in the capture position between Raleigh and Garver, given Garver's last season. Though Garver's numbers are down, having Raleigh as a DH, that can pay off for the Mariners.
Yeah, because Alec, what you know from him is even if the batting average isn't really that high, I don't know if I want to make this comparison, but I feel like I'm going to do it anyway because we just covered this team the last couple of days. He's kind of like Kyle Schwarber. He's going to make something happen.
Kyle Schwarber, good comparison there. Even though the batting average is around 200, he makes magic happen when he's on the bat with his home runs.
Yes, when he connects, it goes a long way. And I know they showed it on the Detroit side of it a couple innings ago. Yeah, I think he's like 40 home runs ahead of Salvador Perez over like the last 10 seasons or so. He's got the most home runs as a catcher over the last concurrent stretch. That was a good block there for Jake Rogers because the Rosarena could have took second. Still 1-2.
Yes, he paid attention to it correctly. Was it, Andrew?
Are you still working at the jewelry store?
I'm not anymore.
Not anymore? Okay. Was that an internship or?
It wasn't.
It wasn't. All right.
A one-handed swing for Cal Raleigh. He still hit that toward the left field side foul warning track. Vierling made a good catch, and Rosarena's got to go back to first.
Yeah, what a chase down by Vierling to catch that on his outstretched catching arm all the way to the wall. He saw that as he chased it right down. Oh, wow.
He had a long way to go there, Alec. That was not an easy play.
It's like a sprinter running to 100.
That's the one thing that the Tigers do have. Even though their team isn't all together as far as the strength, their outfield speed with Vierling and Parker Meadows especially. Wenceel Perez is probably more of a middle infielder because what the Tigers have, he's got to play right field. But my point is, the outfield speed is something that they can really use to their boon, and they did that there. Tarik Skubal, 78 pitches into his day, is going to deal with the former Dodger, former Red Sox, Justin Turner. It's 0 for 2 today. 97 will spin him away, 2-0.
Doing computer science, or are you in between jobs right now?
I'm on the job search right now.
Okay. All right.
90 miles an hour on the slider. That was a good pitch on the black. Again, for Justin Turner, when you look at some of his numbers, you got to remember he's 39 years of age. This is his 95th game this year, 256, 7 bombs, 37 RBI, 37 walks, and 65 strikeouts. But he is a consummate professional. 98 for Tarik Skubal, 3-1. You want to make sure you cut anything off right here. I know Jorge Polanco hasn't been great for the Mariners right now, but the former Twin, they've seen Tarik Skubal a lot. You want to make sure you cut this off right now.
Justin Turner is usually a reliable player. Even for his age, he's still going as strong as ever.
Ooh, Tarik Skubal gets the call. And a long look in between Justin Turner and the home plate umpire. I don't blame him.
Yeah. Turner felt like he got robbed of a walk there, so I feel like there's some sort of ire right in his eyes.
Full count, runner at first, so they'll be off with the pitch, and he will get his walk now. Tarik Skubal didn't even come close to threatening the strike zone. So walk. It's runners at first and second, 2 outs, and Jorge Polanco. Again, I know his numbers are down, but still very dangerous at bat.
Polanco, even though he's batting .210, we do remember about when we speak of Jorge Polanco and the number of home runs he has 10 on the year, but 57 hits on the season, as we have a mound visit from A.J. Hinch on for Tarik Skubal. It might be signaling that his day may be coming to a close, maybe getting informed the plan here if the relievers were to come on in the 7th inning.
Yeah, I think so, Alec. At this point right now, they want to make sure that they get on the same page because this could be the game at this point in the bottom 6 with runners on first and second.
Yeah, fly out in a line out for Polanco thus far in his day. But it's very curious. Always something to watch here whenever Polanco's at the plate swinging.
Yeah, his career versus Tarik Skubal, and again, that's why I mentioned it, 6 for 23. We've had a lot of opportunity with the Minnesota Twins. You see each other a lot in the AL Central, so that's why I think this is going to be a big at-bat. They know what Tarik Skubal features. I understand how good he is. As this is down below, it's going to be a tough play, and Skubal makes it easily. Good work for Tarik.
Oh, wow. Right after that mound visit, that was well done for Tarik Skubal. Even though it was a tough play, he made it look easy. Even though it wasn't easy at all, that was a simple throw. Once he picked it up, did not
I will say this, I know he had a smile on his face, but so did I. Again, I know maybe middle percentile running speed for Polanco there, but you turn and spin, as you said. That was a good play there. Runners in scoring position, didn't want to mess around. Tigers still trying to nurse a 3-2 lead. And Alec, I know we said this plain as day for the Mariners too, as far as their hitting hasn't worked out that well. I really don't think the Mariners can afford to drop the first two games against Detroit.
They cannot. Given that the Mariners, they need to protect this AL West lead from the Houston Astros, who have been sneaking up on them in the AL West race. Even though the AL West is the weakest division in the MLB, division positioning matters. After that Astros victory, in which they defeat the Rangers 6-4 and move into a tie for the moment for first in the AL West.
No, I agree with you. And that's exactly where we are right now in the AL West. You know, honestly, I was shocked. Again, I'll say that Texas got off to the start that they did. I know they dealt with some injuries, but Seager hasn't been very good. Simeon struggled. And the Mariners jumped out pretty big. And then the Astros, kind of came back maybe 12, 13 games below 500 to get above. But that probably has been the most disappointing division of the entire league.
I'm not surprised where the Angels and the Athletics stand, but the Rangers, yeah, they have been disappointing this season, but they have won a World Series.
Yes.
So I don't think they can be all that disappointed. They did get what they accomplished last year, so they can just wash this season away.
Yeah, you get a lift. You're exactly right with that, where people aren't going to bother you, especially after winning that whole thing, considering they've never done that in their organization's history. Again, they're showing the play that Tarik Skubal just made there on Polanco. Again, it is 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors for Detroit, and 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error for Seattle, as that was a pretty good slider. That was toward Perez's at bat, and Snyder able to get ahead 0-1.
Colin Snyder, 131 ERA up against Wenceel Perez, the leadoff hitter for the Tigers. And so far, Snyder delivering that's first strike. It was right down the middle, and Perez did not even attempt at it. 1-1 now after that one went up high.
Yeah, I want to see how the rest of this Seattle bullpen fares, because it's not just the starters that have been able to do all the damage. Wenceel, this was toward his bat, but this gets popped up toward Haniger. No problem for him. 1 up, 1 down in the 7th.
Yeah, this bullpen for the Mariners, pitching has been the Mariners' foundation. Even that extends onto the bullpen between J.T. Chargois, Colin Snyder, we can mention Trent Thornton, Taylor Saucedo, and the closer, Andres Munoz, who was next man up after Paul Sewell got traded to Arizona last season.
That's ridiculous. 20 2/3 innings, and his ERA is 1.31. Colin Snyder. So, yeah, you know what? It's got to be so frustrating if I'm Scott Service or anybody in there inside that organization. How do I have such elite pitching, and how is my hitting so poor? That's got to make you insane, and that's a nice play for Rivas.
Oh, a backhanded catch on the chase down. Rivas stared at that one. He knew where the ball was going to go, tracked it right at the ball's direction. And an underhanded catch, you don't see that often in the MLB. Great job there.
That was a great read, a good sprint speed there. He had to do it because Rosarena and Robles had no chance to get to it. Again, the former Pirate Josh Bell was just picked up from the Diamondbacks not too long ago. It's his 2nd straight game with 2 tanks.
What? Never would have thought of that.
So Matt Vierling, 2 for 3 today, a couple of singles, as the Tigers and the Mariners are getting close now on their final 9 outs as we're getting into the 7th. Alec Nava has graciously joined me for this one. I figured this was going to be a good pitching matchup. It was going to be a close game. Thankfully, we've been treated to that. Honestly, Alec, you had a good game the other day. I had one on Monday covering the Phillies and the Dodgers. I have a hard time. I know Andrew had a differing opinion, but I have a hard time believing that we're not going to watch Phillies and Dodgers in the postseason, because those 2 teams are very good.
You can imagine if the Phillies would turn around at some point. That's what I would believe it will be the case. The Brewers, they're right up there with them. I think the Braves and the Diamondbacks, they're two sleepers that have on my docket. And yes, I'm saying the Braves, even after Ronald Acuna's season-ending injury, they may be employing a similar strategy to what they did when they won the World Series 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's interesting. Even with all those injuries, how good they still are. And Alex Anthopoulos and the way he's put everything together. And you still have Austin Riley. And you brought back Jorge Soler. You got Marcelo Ozuna who's had a career year. Atlanta's still very dangerous. And I think a lot of teams, even with all those injuries, probably wish they had a team as they do in Atlanta. As it's 2-2. Pitch clock down to 1. And this is in off the fists and fall back.
Mind you, the Braves don't even have Spencer Strider. He was lost for the year earlier
Yes.
due to injury.
And the resurgence, really, of Chris Sale as well.
As well. It's impressive what the Braves are doing. Bryce Snitker, nice work.
2-2, still the count for Matt. This is another sweeper. And this one, it's toward the infield, and this will be called off by Turner. Tigers go away quietly. We'll get set to stretch. Tigers still up 3-2 as we go bottom 7.
As for everyone else in the MLB today, we also need to mention about that wild card battle between the Royals and the Red Sox. So far, the Red Sox have been struggling after the All-Star break, and the Royals, they're taking full advantage of that. They just beat the Red Sox 8-4 at Kauffman Stadium.
I will say this to you, Alec. I just want to get your thoughts. Again, I get a chance to watch them every now and again in the AL Central, the Kansas City Royals. Bobby Witt Jr. is an absolute real deal, but it's amazing to me what happens when you go out and spend some money. And I think that's what gets me a little bit frustrated with the Tigers at times, because the Royals didn't go out and make a ton of splashy moves, but the ones that they did bring in, like Zeth Lugo, and some of the other bats like Hunter Renfroe and all that, everybody's made a difference.
Everybody has. Lugo, Michael Wacha to add on to the young core of Cole Raggins and Brady Singer. Bobby Witt Jr. off that contract extension of the contract with 11 years and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars onto that. He is not going nice. We had shortstop position for the Royals. Even at the bat, he went 3 for 4 in this game. Nicely done for Witt, who's the face of the Royals, we could argue.
Yeah, I would. Again, as Salvador Perez is going to make his gracious exit, he's still doing well. Bobby Witt Jr., that's a nice face to have, an absolute superstar. Again, Bobby Witt reminds me, I know he's playing infield, but he's got a ton of speed. He kind of reminds me of the way Mike Trout started with the Angels, and I feel like he's going to be able to power himself to be the face of that team for years and years to come. We have one more final that just became final. The New York Mets, I know they had a tough start to the year, but they're still hanging in close to a wild card spot. They beat the Rockies 5-3.
They may have turned it around after they introduced Grimace, and I don't mean this in a joking manner, but after they introduced Grimace, it seemed like there was a turnaround.
Yeah, they've done pretty well. Dylan Moore still back out there against Tarik Skubal. So again, you and I mentioned that with AJ Hinch trying to make sure with Jorge Polanco to get that out. They're going to reward Tarik Skubal with the 7th inning. And why not? He's been pretty good, Alec.
He has for this game. Even though he gave up that home run to Cal Raleigh, this has been an otherwise nice day for Skubal as per usual.
Yeah, it's just 2 hits. Again, an infield single there for a Rosarina that got around Baez. Baez couldn't have made the play anyway. It was going to be an infield single. And then just a hanging slider that was caught by Cal Raleigh. And again, that's what happens. You got dual action here in the bullpen, as it'll be Dylan Moore waiting on the 1-2. Good pitch inside, but called the ball. 98 on a sinker.
So Moore has 8 RBI in the last 10 games. You wonder if he's going to finally get one off and advertise a charm. You'd imagine that may be the case. Not often you see that happening, more often than not, but it may be.
We'll see what he can do. Again, he's a guy that plays all over the infield and outfield, and that is hit pretty well. Vierling on a dive makes the catch.
He's done it again. First time around was a sprint. This time it was a dive. Vierling has been told that left field very nicely today, and there's another dive for the catch. He's nicely protected. His speed, so dangerous for the Tigers, as he used that to his advantage.
Yeah, you love that because, again, he's in the infield, he's in the outfield. Riley Green could probably play that spot when he comes back because Parker Meadows in center. And Vierling is showing his versatility. Again, that long run we had just the previous half inning toward the follow side, make the catch, and then that dive. That's pretty good there as Mitch Haniger will take ball there. It's 1-1, 89 on the slider. Skubal, he's 20 out of 25 in first pitch strikes. That's how you stay in the game.
The first one on a curve, and those curveballs being so difficult to go up against.
And Haniger almost broke his back on that one because he swung and missed on a changeup.
He's all right, though.
He is all right. He went fishing for that one. It was nowhere close. That bounced off the plate as it's 93 pitches into Skubal's day. Again, he's still trying to maybe win a Cy Young for Detroit. They would know something about that with Justin Verlander that won multiple. He also won an MVP as well. Tarik Skubal really is that good, and he's still only 27. The only problem with Detroit, he's only a sign here for one more year. So I would be really sad if he didn't pitch for the Motor City Kitties anymore, but it's definitely possible that Alec, when it's all said and done, he's going to be one of the highest paid pitchers in all of baseball.
He's going to get rewarded no matter what after this season. Perhaps I would think if the Tigers, they would need to sign into an extension ASAP. Get him over to the front office.
Yeah, because there's going to be 29 other teams, and we're just telling you, 29 other teams that want his services. There's no doubt about it. 95 pitches, Skubal. This one is inside the kitchen, and Haniger still able to stay with it. Nothing wrong with the velocity, as Skubal has hovered around 100. That at 99. Jason Foley. They've mixed in closing duties all over the place. Your guess is as good as mine, whoever closes for the Tigers. Still 2-2. That at 98. Haniger's put together a good at-bat.
It's curious to me because, from what I've seen, the Tigers have Foley listed as the closer as of now, but it could be anyone's guess because it's basically closer by committee for the Tigers from what you're hinting at.
Yes, it is. And a barrage of fastballs and an off-speed pitch, and Haniger strikes out for the third time today.
There you have it. So 3 strikeouts for Mitch Haniger. See if Skubal is going to go further here. The belief is that he is. We see that Mitch Garver is now coming up to the plate. I think that Skubal is going to stay out there for one more sequence, and maybe his last.
That's what I would say, Alec. Finish off this 7th strong and put your head up high, whether win or no decision here. It's 6 2/3, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. Just another ho-hum Tarik Skubal outing, and I mean that in the best way. He's very consistent.
He has been. Skubal, the best pitcher that the Tigers have had since Justin Verlander, and that is high praise for someone who's up on the coming.
Yes.
And due for a big payday.
Yeah. Again, I'll just go through the time machine quickly here. Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, David Price, Doug Fister, Rick Porcello, Anibal Sanchez. A lot of Cy Young Award winners. And Tarik Skubal is absolutely in that A list. Again, they're showing Mitch Haniger going fishing. Now 2-2 against Garver. Is he going to get a single? Is he going to strike out? See you later.
Check swing, and Garver went fishing that time. He drove low, tried to go at it, thinking that he's going to get a hit at it, but that was below the strike zone. Probably should not have gone there.
Well, I'll tell you, right through 7, that was fun to watch. That's vintage Tarik Skubal there. Then the last outing he had, he gave up 5. This one, he was locked in. He only made 1 mistake. He paid for that one. And we will go to the 8th.
So wonder what is to come here in the 8th inning. So who the Mariners are going to put on, if they're going to stick with Colin Snyder, if they're going to go with someone else. Taylor Saucedo, Trent Fortin are available at the bullpen. But we don't know just yet. My initial guess is that if they're not showing anyone warming up at the bullpen, and perhaps they may be keeping Snyder for this sequence.
I think that'd be safe to say, Alec, because it seems like anybody you throw out in the Mariners bullpen, they trust them implicitly.
I think we're getting something else. They didn't show us, but apparently they're going with Austin Bob, as I'm seeing on the the ESPN site. So Snyder's inning is dealt the 125 ERA, 9 strikes on this outing. Chargewell 135 ERA, Snyder 125. So Bob, curious case given his 3.15 ERA.
We'll see how that works out. Again, if I'm just being completely honest with the Tigers, it's not really a household name as far as lineup. I think that they'll be able to get through it. The main thing now for Detroit, try to hold on to that lead. Obviously, the main thing for the Mariners, try to score a couple. Tigers' bullpen has been decent. I can't necessarily say strength because it's still a bunch of guys that you're not really familiar with. But usually when they're out there, Alec, they'll do the job.
Usually they be doing the job more often than not.
So I'm just throwing a couple more things in here before we get set to start the 8th. It's been a good low-scoring game. What did you think of the game you covered yesterday?
I think it was a nice pitching battle between the first 4 innings up until the Phillies broke through in the 5th and then later the 6th. That's when the Phillies started to break out, and they needed this to recover because of their skid that they had. And they needed this, but who else needs this? As I mentioned before, Clayton Kershaw. Somebody to build his confidence up. He's not the Kershaw of old, but he needs something to show semblances of what he once was. And there, through 5 innings, he displayed that.
Yeah, and again, I know they said some of the same things around Houston for Justin Verlander because he's like, 43 now. You kind of wonder whether or not about Kershaw, Verlander, can they be what they once were? No, they're not the Cy Young guys that they once were anymore. But if you get them into the postseason, they're going to be able to win you ball games.
It works. A second pitch out here for Austin Bob as he takes out his man out of the lineup. And now is Urshela as Bligh Madris. He was tossed out the second pitch of that fly ball.
Yes, he was. And Madris's average is going to just placate all over the place. And the only reason I say it that way, he's only 63 games now into his career. The 27-year-old, he just got picked up by Detroit as he was let go by Houston. So his average will move a lot until he keeps playing more games. Urshela, that one split the plate. I'm not sure what Urshela was looking at there on a sweeper. 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors, Detroit. Seattle, 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error. That one from Mitch Haniger in right field is what allowed Vierling to score an extra run. In 93, that one pretty much split the plate, but Urshela couldn't find it.
I would believe about Madris going over to Detroit. I would believe familiarity with A.J. Hinch is my hunch with it.
I would say that too, or maybe, in between, you don't have space for anybody else when you bring back Jose Abreu if he's back.
That may be another case.
It's been a little while since I've looked at the Astros. I know Jose Abreu has been up and down, but when he is healthy, he can still do damage. As it's 2-2 for Urshela. It's both. And wow, that sweeper had a lot of movement to it, and that barely missed up high.
And he had to just get out the way just in time before it was going to hit him. Urshela, that curveball had a lot of steam.
Yes, it did. A lot of revolutions there. Full count pitch. This one is hit pretty well. This one going to split the gap toward the corner. Urshela is going to get an easy 2-bag.
There you go. Deep left field on the drive. And Urshela, right after the previous ball almost hit him, he swung at it as this was going bottom center, drove it over to left field, and not exactly a fly ball. This was a pop or a line drive to deep left.
That was probably a pitch that was too good for Volt to be able to throw, considering he did have a count leverage. Tigers are 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. That's going to make you not feel very well, but the Mariners are 0 for 2. It's time to cash in. Parker Meadows, 79 on a sweeper. He takes a strike.
Yeah, 8 hits on the day, but you know what matters is that the Tigers are right now, they're up 3-2. They got to capitalize, however, with those runners on scoring position.
Yes, they do. It's a huge at-bat, and Parker Meadows, he swung way early. That was 75 on a curveball, slow and slower.
Yeah, I know those curveballs, they're hard to hit at, but I think there was one to be had there. think it was going to the right, but too early on that. Not a good look.
Skied up into the air. This is not going to advance any runners here, and Rivas able to make the catch. 2 outs now for Detroit as Vogt 11 pitches into his day, and that will bring up Zach McKinstry. AJ Hinch, at this portion of the game, with the Tigers having 4 outs left, he will pinch hit a lot, but right now it looks like McKinstry is going to get his chance at the bat rack.
I would believe that may be the case with AJ Hinch having other guys pinch hit in the absence.
This is toward third base. Diving stop, but they have no play on the throw over. Infield single for Zach.
You don't see that often. Just as Dylan Moore made the dive, he just ran out of time as he was too far from position to throw all the way to first. It's a tough play to make. And more often than not, you're not going to make it all the way. I think you're going to have a cannon of an arm. You're going to throw from third base all the way to first base. Tough play for Dylan.
Yeah, it was. That was a good dive, as you said there, though, Alec, because that at least saves a run. We've seen that a couple times with a couple stops in the infield. Bally Sports Detroit is now focusing on Urshela. They're saying maybe he was dealing with something going in. I know he had to kind of stop suddenly, so we see this replay in real time as he's hustling toward the third base side, and he slipped before he ever got to the bag. It looked like he was holding on his hamstring.
Joey Cora, the third base coach for the Tigers, had to make sure that he was okay. He kind of slipped at first, but no worse for wear as we get the replay of what was. So he got to, he slipped before he ever got to third. Might have tweaked something, we don't know, but I think he's all right for the moment.
So Javier Baez, 0 for 2. I mean, this is a big leverage at bat. You know, we talked about that throughout this game. And he's got to come through here as he swings and misses on a curveball. Nowhere close. 0-1.
Way below at bottom left. Don't attempt on that.
You can't. And that's where Baez is very vulnerable throughout his career. And, you know, Seattle knows that, especially with their pitching staff. Runners on first and third with 2 outs. 93 on a fastball. It's the first time we've seen Austin really throw anything with velocity on it, make it 1-1.
Urshela at third base. If anything were to go, Baez, he's got to get something.
1-1. And this time he thought better of it on a sweeper. He spits on it. And McKinstry steals the bag. So now runners at second and third.
Whenever someone takes off and goes, you would imagine that someone's going to throw over to second base and try and catch that guy, steal it.
Baez way outside of the crouch, and Cal Raleigh probably saved a run, or Garver, excuse me, he caught that thing.
Yeah, that was Garver as he dove over to the right. Austin, Bob, I thought this was a curious case of putting him onto the mound, given that he has a higher ERA than most other Mariners pitchers on the bullpen. I thought it was curious, but so far,
Big cut for Baez, doesn't find it. He wanted to time that off-speed pitch. It's a full count. The fans are on their feet right now because they know what's at stake. Can Baez walk? Can he just continue this at bat? What can he do? Full count pitch on the way, and he'll follow it straight back.
So he's still there. Bob may have one more chance.
It has been curved 4-seam sweep mix, the last 2 sweepers from a 94 to 79, so good speed differential there. He could go low in the left. That's where Baez is vulnerable. That's where he did. Baez offered, and this is popped right up to Polanco. That was a very poor swing, and the Mariners still have 6 outs to score at least 1 more run.
But there could have been a line drive, more or less, for Baez if you want to try at that to get the Tigers up more runs.
Yeah, that's what you would want to, but he looked like he was swinging a garden hose there on that side. That was way outside of the strike zone. But I will say this for both the fastball and the off-speed pitch in between the sweeper and curve. That has a good miles per hour difference to it. I can see why people can get caught in between.
And another update here from Dodger Stadium. It's a one-run game. It's another short bomb in LA. So a double to the right side, which scored in Nick Castellanos and Johan Rojas.
We'll see if that continues here for the Phillies. Again, as you mentioned, they need to be able to get some wins, and they're trying to get a series win against the Dodgers. Honestly, Alec, both the Dodgers and the Phillies coming into this series, again, it was two of the last 10 for the Phillies, and I think 4 and 6 in the last 10 for the Dodgers. So both teams not necessarily playing all that great, but to the Dodgers' defense, I mean, when you lose somebody like Mookie Betts, that changes everything.
Yeah, it does. Because that is when you lose somebody like him, that means you lose a key staple onto the team. It impacts your lineup, but as it is in all the cases, it's always next man up for the Dodgers. And with the way in which they're going with, they have to deploy the next man up. That means KK Hernandez at third base, Austin Barnes at catcher in relief of Will Smith, because Smith spent most of the day from yesterday at the catching area. Jason Hayward now into the lineup after Andy Paez. He delivered for them. That long throw from him to her Kike at third base. That was the highlight of the game for the Dodgers.
Yeah, I don't know how they keep finding some of these guys. I know James Outman didn't kind of pan out yet. He's still very young as well. But Paez kind of essentially coming out of nowhere, Alec, and he's been pretty good as a rookie.
And so far, so good for Paez. This is the development of the Dodgers.
So Foley, 40 and 2/3 innings, 3.76 ERA. It's kind of weird to see a number that actually looks kind of normal. That's not bad. It's just everybody on the Seattle side has ERAs of about 1.5. So Foley against Rojas, and this one is up. This will be called the ball. So Rojas will pinch hit for Rivas. He's in the 9th spot.
So a switch up look for the Mariners. Scott Service getting Rojas in the place of Rivas. Probably under that shortstop position, which Rivas has been occupying because J.P. Crawford is on the injury list.
Yeah, we got a chance to watch J.P. Crawford a little bit, especially becoming some of the games last year. I really like what he does in the infield, and they're still waiting for Julio Rodriguez as well. I think they're coming back sooner rather than later, and that could be essentially like a free agent acquisition, really, where it really kind of changes your team and catapults you. Seattle doesn't need all that much. They just need a few more runs here and there.
And they could use that with Crawford and Rodriguez back into the lineup as well. You have Canzone, also another name worth mentioning.
Yeah, they have bench depth. I mean, they have a good team. They just have guys that are way below their averages and numbers. I think they're just having poor years at the bat rack. That is 98. This one will bounce off of Jake Rogers, and that will be another couple seconds for them to go ahead and get situated. So 2-2. Rojas is the pinch hitter for Rivas, and then we'll probably go back to Victor Robles and Randy Arozarena. Arozarena's had a good game today. He's looked more like his Tampa Bay self here for Seattle, and that is a good sign. 2-2 is the pitch count. We're in bottom 8. And a big swing and a miss on a slider. That was a dirty pitch down below. And Rojas is going to go grab some pine.
Yeah, he went golfing that time. The Mariners right now, they have 3 guys warming up at the bullpen, which includes Trent Barton and Andres Munoz.
Yeah, and Andres Munoz, I would think, would only be active if the Mariners have the lead. But if we do see him, I think that'll be fun, Alec, because he throws at 100 and he's one of the best.
Yeah, he's just right as a Aroldis Chapman type of closer. Chapman is prime days, that is.
That's a very good call by you. And a very weak infield. Pop to Foley, toss it over there to Madris. 2 up, 2 down. And now, Alec, I'm just going to say it as it is right now, with Randy Arozarena and Cal Raleigh here at 2-3. Should Cal Raleigh, get another opportunity in the 9th, which he will, this is the time for Seattle to come through. These are their best bats.
Arena, who's usually a playoff performer, this is his time now. He had a base hit, a walk, and a run. He was 1 for 2. The base hit can do wonders for someone who's needing to get their numbers up.
So Randy, he misses on a fastball there, 0-1. Tigers need 4 more outs. That slider was spiked. As I'm looking at the Bally Sports Detroit feed, I got the local one here today. That's the only one. It's 3-2 Tigers with the lead. They've played pretty well. So has Seattle. This has been the pitching duel that we expected. Glad to have Alec Nava here with me for this one. As now it's 2-1. Randy's got count leverage.
So count leverage is there for Arena. And with Foley through 11 pitches. I wonder what is next for Randy.
He could get a hold of an off-speed pitch. He likes those as well. He's usually not late on fastballs. That was a gorgeous fastball. He does get the call at 98 on the black.
So 98 on the top line. It kind of distracted him a bit. Didn't know where to swing or not. So, and those balls that are lined up onto the edges of the strike zone, those are the hardest to hit.
Yeah, they are, because you really got to make a split-second decision whether or not you can get to it. If you get to it late, you're going to get jammed, and you're either going to get strike out or it's going to be something easy. So sinker slider, 97 to 88. That's what he's been featuring here. Pitch number 14. 98, Rosarena. This will be gapped again. He's had a great game. This scores toward the right side. He lost his helmet in the process. He's got a double.
That's the type of game in which Rosarena needs here. 23rd double of the season for him as he gets his helmet right back. And that sets up Cal Raleigh in the same situation in which he scored the first runs for the Mariners. And what the Tigers haven't scored since the 4th inning, they need to hold Raleigh at bay here.
Yes, they do, Alec. This is a giant at bat, as we talked about. These are the best guys there. Cal Raleigh's already got a 2-run tank. He gets another one. You bring in Andres Munoz. This could be church. This is the game right now, and everybody knows it. 1 for 3 with a 2-run tank in the 4th. Cal Raleigh, 89. Wow, gets the call, does Foley. That was not a good one.
Yeah, I believe it was a little low, and it may be a judgment call, but that was not a good call to make because it was just below the strike zone.
Yeah, you'd think as a catcher you would normally get that. I know he's DHing today, but catchers say, hey, wait a minute. You want to get the call on your side. It's 1-1. Cal Raleigh, again, he's got 24 home runs now. That's been updated. 1 for 3 today. Rosarena at second. Big swing on a sinker. Doesn't find it. 1-2.
Yeah, he tried to attempt on that sinker, but it was way below the zone. Basically was going golfing or fishing.
Justin Turner would be next if Cal Raleigh can extend this, but likely gets a hit here. It's going to be a tie game. Big leverage at bat. Foley trying to get out of it with Rosarena at second. Big swing for Cal. This one toward the track. Parker Meadows jumps. He makes the catch.
Did we just see what we just saw?
Unbelievable.
That might be the play of the game. Parker Meadows, are you kidding? He went up high like he's a pole vaulter to make that catch over the fence and keep this free too. Wow.
Alec, I'm glad you're here with me. What a special moment that was, because Cal Raleigh, he makes this a 4-2 game, a 4-3 game if Parker Meadows doesn't make that catch. That's absolute robbery.
That is the biggest rob. Sometimes we see our biggest saves. This is the save of the game. I don't care who gets the save among the Tigers relievers. Parker Meadows might have saved the game for Detroit.
That is absolutely unbelievable. Again, I've seen Curtis Granderson, Austin Jackson back in the days here for Detroit, more toward the college years for me, between like 2006, 2012. Some pretty good outfielders here. Just be honest. Parker Meadows catch, and I'm not trying to oversell this thing. He absolutely climbed the wall in center field and robbed Cal Raleigh of another two-run jam there. That was a steal of the game, and we'll see now if they get another opportunity to do the Mariners. They will with Turner, Polanco, and more, but Arozarena and Cal Raleigh did their job today. Parker Meadows was just one better.
Yeah, they did. And then some. Randy Arozarena needed this game to revive his confidence, and he is reviving his confidence in this game. He can continue this on for the rest of the season, helping the Mariners to the playoffs. It's going to pan out for them on the trade between them and Tampa Bay. I know the Rays, they may be out of the running. The Mariners, they're in a battle with the Astros on the AL West. They feel the AL West between them. Whoever's going to win that division may be the only one on that division getting a playoff spot, because I don't see anyone else outside of the division winner from the AL West getting into the playoffs. I think it's now a two-team race between Houston and Seattle.
I agree with you completely, Alec. Again, we talk about it now with the half-game difference here in between Seattle and Houston. Essentially, if you don't win the division right now, you're about 5 games out of the wild card. So you're absolutely right. It's very important that Seattle holds on to it. They've had the lead for most of the year. The Astros have come charging of late. And again, I just have to punch this button. I know we've agreed all day. If Seattle can kind of just bring up their offensive averages a little bit because their pitching is so damn good, they'll be fine. You've just got to be able to hit the baseball with a little more consistency.
Some more consistency would do for them.
So Jonathan Hernandez, I believe, was a former member of the Texas Rangers. He is now a member of Seattle. 9-1-2 due up for Detroit. Parker Meadows has made the play of the game right now, and there is no denying that. It'll be Jake Rogers, Wenceel Perez, and Colt Keith, catcher, right field, and DH. Normally Colt Keith is in second, but he's going to get the day off today, on the side of his feet at least, as it is top 9. Tigers still trying to hold on to a 3-2 lead, trying to get back-to-back wins in this series. Really is a surprise yesterday because they had a rookie on the mound in Montero who did very well, able to deny the Mariners with a win. Today it was the time I thought the Tigers would win because you had Tarik Skubal on the mound. And if Seattle doesn't win this game, this is already a series loss.
Now, as we see Jake Rogers taking the walk, the Mariners, they need to pull through in the last inning. You either tie or win this with Turner, Polanco, and Moore. I think Turner may be the best at bat for them, but do remember he's 0 for 2. He does have a walk, though, which makes Arozarena's second. So there's that going for him.
Absolutely. Again, he's still clutch, and I won't even argue that, Alec. I still think he'll be able to get the job done. Wenceel Perez. Now we'll check in again after Jake Rogers walked. Honestly, he's done a pretty good job in the 9th spot today. He's gotten on base a couple times, and now Hernandez, as Turner comes out of the crouch. It's 2-0 right now, and they're just going to have a meeting of the minds here. They don't want things to get out of hand.
You did mention about Hernandez being a former member of the Rangers. He was on the team last year. Didn't pitch much for them during the playoffs, but he was on their bullpen.
I thought about that, Alec. I didn't want to talk over myself or think that I was wrong there because I do think I remember watching one game last year where he walked the bases loaded in extras and Texas lost. That's where I remember Hernandez. He does throw hard, but he is very wild. And right now he is extremely wild as Wenceel Perez. This next one might be an obligatory take because it's 3-0.
Might be.
We'll see what happens here with Wenceel. He led the game off with a great at-bat against Kirby with a tank toward right field. Don't think he's going to offer it this one at all. And this is not even close. 2 walks.
Oh, is this 2-0, 3-0? I thought he saw 2-0 before that last one. Did they show a broadcast error if it is an actual walk or an intentional walk, if anything? I'm a little confused.
They might have showed an intentional error on your side of the broadcast, my friend, because it is 2 on and nobody out. It's a couple walks.
Yeah, Trent Barnes still at the mound or the bullpen, warming up in the event if he were to be brought out. But from here, from what we're expecting, because Jonathan Hernandez, he can pitch hard, but he is wild with his pitches, as you said. So if it becomes any more wild, and Bill, at this point, you got to bring in Trent Barnes.
And again, we talk about some of the new rules over the last couple of years. It's a 3-batter minimum. So Hernandez has to go one more here. Colt Keith is only 22. He does have 11 home runs, 252 average. He's got some pop. But I think if you're Colt Keith, you want to be patient here. You might get another walk. As this one's way down low, Alec. And these pitches, they're not close right now.
They're not close for Hernandez, which has a 4.81 ERA on the season. Not what you would expect from someone on your bullpen, especially if it's a Mariners bullpen. Especially when you're going under the Mariners, the standard may be raised here.
I agree with you completely because we've seen a lot of 1.5, maybe 1.7. You see a 4.8, you get a little nervous as it's 1-1 sinker. That was a good pitch there for Hernandez. You got to consistently locate though. Colt Keith not going to get the call because he's not been close. And as Alec mentioned, Thornton's still warming up here, and they're going to have to get in warm quickly because the 3-batter minimum, it'll be done after this. 2-1 count leverage for Colt Keith. This is big for the Tigers here if they can get any sort of insurance. 2-1. This is down the middle. Colt Keith, this is going to backtrack a Rosarena toward the track. He'll make the catch. Jake Rogers saunters over to third. Both runners move up.
Well, we have an interesting development. Both the runners on the bases have moved up in the wake of that first out. So they want to advance further on to scoring position if they were to get this win. Kudos to Parker Meadows and Matt Vierling. He could be the one, barring a double play.
Absolutely. And again, as we talk about, you normally see both runners advance on a sacrifice fly, but the Tigers will absolutely take it. All they need is one more deep fly ball. Hernandez still out there right now, so this looks like, Alec, this might be his inning.
It might be, unless if anything else happens to him.
15 pitches into his day. He's been all over the zone. Again, not close. 2-0. This would just make me feel uncomfortable as a manager or a pitching coach. I know the LeBron James a la bite your nails. Hernandez might not leave you with anything left here. 2-0. What's Vierling going to do? This is a take. That's a good one. A sinker makes it 2-1.
Pete Woodworth, the pitching coach for the Mariners, has to be thinking, what happens if Hernandez still is wild? Do I put in Trent Fortune or someone else like Taylor Saucedo?
Yeah, you want to save everybody at least for tomorrow because if they don't win this one, the Mariners have to win tomorrow. If they get swept by the Tigers, that's not going to be good. I'm not saying the Tigers are incredibly bad, but the Mariners should be winning this. This is base hit through the hole. That's going to score 1. And now runner to third there as Vierling gets the first. Rogers scores.
What do you do now if you're Scott Service and you're seeing Jonathan Hernandez give up that run right through the gap as it went sliding by Dylan Moore and all the way over to left field where Rosarena was standing? So it scores 1, and Service is maybe saying, that's enough. That's enough.
Yep, you called it perfectly there. I think you have to. I know we said this could be his inning, but I mean, that was he's getting booed by the fans. That was not good, Alec. I mean, there was no semblance of the strike zone, and now Thornton's got a little bit of a jam here, but that was not a good outing.
No, it wasn't, because Hernandez is tasked with getting the Mariners holding on to get one more chance, and now the gap is at 2. This may be a game, if it goes any worse for wear, could be out of reach for them.
And who knows if Parker Meadows doesn't make that catch. This is where I bring in this point. If Parker Meadows doesn't make that catch, they probably bring in Munoz, and this game is done.
They would. If Parker Meadows didn't jump up and make that catch, if Cal Raleigh goes a little more feet right above Parker Meadows, then we'd be singing a very different tune here. The notion of warming up Munoz was because in the case if the Mariners were leading after the 8th, and if Meadows doesn't make that catch, or if Raleigh goes a little up or higher to get the Mariners this lead, we'd be seeing Munoz at the mound this time.
So it's going to be interesting for Tigers fans if they win this one. I think they'll be very happy, myself included. Matt Vierling does have a 3-hit day. He's 3 for 5, but Parker Meadows made the catch of the game. Who's going to win player of the game? It's probably going to be Vierling, but you do have a pretty darn good argument should they be able to hold this.
So, yeah, Vierling may be the player of this game should the Tigers hold on to this 4-2 lead. If it's the Mariners making this comeback, you would think Arena being the guy for them.
Oh, absolutely. He's been so much fun to watch. Been able to draw a walk, get a couple hits. The Bally Sports Detroit feed cannot stop showing that catch. And I really don't blame them because you look at some of the Seattle fans there, they have their mouths agape as well. You couldn't believe what you saw there. But again, Alec and I were able to call that one in real time. It's kind of funny. Alec and I haven't worked together in a long time, and yet we get another fantastic moment. It just seems to happen when we call games.
Magic happens whenever we're together. Just think of last time around, Game 7, Panthers-Oilers. That may be the best game of the entire playoffs, or none.
Yeah, it's hard to believe going from 3-0. We didn't imagine that it would go 3-3 and into a Game 7, but that was so much fun. Again, we said we're a couple months away. I can't wait till that starts again. We're going to get some baseball playoffs as well. This one is slammed way foul. Madris had the home run distance, but it was foul.
Yes, the distance was there for Madris, but he's got to get it more towards the inside of that line.
So runners at first and third. That was a big insurance run that Matt Vierling was able to get. This now big swing. Madris make it 1-2. Trent Thornton's able to get out of this there, but I will say this. I'm not going to go ahead and throw a whole bunch of blame at Scott Service or anything like that, but I do think if Hernandez has more of those outings, I don't think he's going to get much bullpen relief here for the Mariners. You can't have situations where you're just wild and you give teams opportunity to score runs. That's a death sentence. Even for a team like Detroit, they're going to be able to make you pay. Again, they got Brian Wu going tomorrow, so the Mariners should be able to salvage something as the Tigers have the good old TBD. Again, the Tigers, honestly, after some of the trades, especially with Flaherty, Skubal's really the only other starter that they got left that they know that's going to be able to be chalked in. So there's going to be some bullpen days for Detroit.
You'll be thinking maybe Kenta Maeda. That would be my best guess among relievers that could be starters that are listed on the Tigers roster. Maeda was previously a starter on the Twins last year. I like that signing over the offseason. And I think I'll put up Maeda up there.
I think Maeda is a good name to say. I think Tigers expected him to do a little bit better, but I agree with you, Alec. He was really good as a Minnesota Twin. He's just really struggled in Detroit. He's given up too many pitches in the middle of the plate. Base hit. This might score 2. Here's the throw to the plate, not in time, and the Tigers blow it open. It's 6-2.
It's like last night all over again between the Phillies and Dodgers. Just when it looked like the losing team was about to make a comeback, well, the leading team pulls away in the 9th inning, and we're seeing that in real time over and over again. So just as Joey Carr saying, go, 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 right decision there, as Randy Rosarena's throw was not on time, safe at the plate.
Man, oh man, the Tigers be able to take a couple of games in this series right now. That's absolutely big for them, but I can't get over it. I know Seattle's still got 3 more outs to work with. You can't afford to drop a series against Detroit.
You can't, especially when playoff positioning is on the line. Speaking of the Phillies, did I say about big 6 innings? They blown it open in 6th inning again.
So they're trying to take the series against the Dodgers. This is a base hit toward the third base side. So the Tigers, Parker Meadows, he's been doing it all. Couple hits, an incredible catch. It keeps the line moving.
A conga line, if you would say the least. It's a conga line of base hits right now. If that recent sequence, Meadows to the left side of Urshela to second base. It's been all around a good day for the Tigers as we look at that 6th inning for the Phillies. And again, they broke it open. JT Realmuto moves Alec Bohm to score. And Brandon Marsh, wild pitch, he scored. He moved Johan Rojas to second. And then Kyle Schwarber, a 3-run homer to make it 8-4 for 126 feet to right. Castellanos and Rojas scoring.
Well, we know who the player of the game is for the Philadelphia Phillies because when I look on it, 3 for 3, he's got a walk, and Schwarber's got 6 RBI.
I'll have to check my fantasy lineup to see if I have him on the lineup, because if I do have it, that is a good day.
Another base hit for Detroit. Here's a throw to the plate, and they're out. So the Tigers are done. They try to send for McKinstry hit that cost them Urshela there. So fans will be happy with the out. Tigers 13-hit attack. They're going to try to finish it off bottom 9. AJ Hinch thinks he might want to put the headset on. I don't think that's going to be a good decision. That looked like that was easy.
Yeah, that was just clear as day about the throw. All the way to home. Bill the Mariners, they had enough of that. They said, no more. Don't think anything else. Just go straight to home to end this inning. And that they did. Just send it to the bottom.
And give me your update, too, toward the end of this post game, Alec, whether or not you put Schwarber in. I hope that you did, because that might win you a week.
So let's see. As I'm checking right now on ESPN Fantasy Baseball, I know 3 for 3. We have 2 home runs. and you have runners moving on. But an RBI double scored in both Castellanos and Rojas. You got yourself a nice day. Let's see. On my lineup, apparently not.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I forget to edit my lineups these days.
Oh, man, I'm sorry, Alec. Again, the last time that and this was a long time ago, we were covering one of the hockey games, and we talked about some of the stuff with the Yankees, and I know Ian was mentioning it, and that was one of the days you had Clay Holmes in, and Clay Holmes got lit up like a gas can. So it does happen sometimes.
Yeah, it happens. It's like that. And now I have Ryan Helsley in the lineup now for me. So Holmes, you've been a good soldier for your services. Unfortunately, it's a business decision.
Absolutely, that's the way that it goes sometimes. Tigers are going to be really happy with this game over the last 3 outs. Honestly, I would say it is plain as day. 13-hit attack with this lineup. They're going to take that all day long. For the Mariners, it looks like they might be going back to the drawing board. I can't help but believe that they should be playing better. They've got to salvage something tomorrow. I imagine that they will.
Or they will, perhaps.
So who do we get now? So Brennan Hanifee. This is someone that I'm not familiar with. He's only pitched 3 innings with Detroit, 2 earned runs. So this is right from the Toledo Mud Hens to Detroit. And this is going to be just trying to get the outs with the big lead. So this is a good opportunity for the Mariners. I know they only got 3 outs left. They could do some damage here, and they need to try to make sure to manufacture every one of these limited at-bats.
Got to salvage something here, as he said, because it was a game which was close up until the 9th inning. You got to find a light at the end of time.
Yeah, you do. When you have a name that's pretty much unknown here that you should be able to hit a round. I'm not going to say Hennepy is going to turn into Pinata, but you should be at a point where the Mariners can score a couple runs. It just, as Alec and I talked about, that couple runs that Meadows saved might be the difference. But I do think if you're AJ Hinch, I want to make sure that Tyler Holton and everybody else is close on standby, because if the Mariners get a couple runs, Tigers are going to have to cut it off quickly.
Yeah, that may be the case there.
So Jorge Polanco still batting 5th in the order here. Big swing and a miss on a changeup. That was splitting the middle of the plate. He just didn't get a hold of it. 0-1.
I know the Mariners, even though they dropped this series and potentially this game, need something quick.
They do. The door is open here, but not if it's tailor-made. Step over, and boy, oh boy, that is not what the M's needed there. Tailor-made double play as Bally is able to step on the bag and toss to first.
And just went directly over to second base, and a quick throw over to first. He stopped that up. And Hanifee, even though it's limited, solid here for some mop-up duty.
Yeah, that's exactly what you have right now. Again, this is a chance to impress, but we'll get you some more time. And again, we say it the same way that we did with Hernandez. Whether or not mop-up duty trying to keep it close, you want to be able to perform when you're out there. And when you don't, that's how you get less time. When you do, that's how you get more. It's plain and simple. As it's 1-1, the M's are down to their last bat. It's Dylan Moore.
So, curious decision. Curious thing.
1-1. Dylan Moore, did he offer? They're going to say they're calling a strike, so they're on their last strike here.
Now or never.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily sure that should have been a strike or even a swing, but here we are. Hanafi, 97. This one outside, so the M's still alive. Tigers holding on to a 6-2 lead. They've essentially had the lead the entire game. It started off with Wenceel Perez, Cal Raleig's 2-run jam, made it close until the Tigers got the 9th inning. And this one off of Rogers, that stung him pretty good. He's going to need a few extra seconds.
He may need to look at himself afterwards because that may have gotten him good.
Looked like the inside of the thigh, anything down below the belt, that is not what you want. Yeah, it hit him near the cup, and that's not what you want there. So they will give him all the time he needs. Hey, this game was almost over. He could have been doing without that, but we'll try one more time. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Tigers win.
6-2 your final, just like last night around. And basically the same song and story from what we saw in Game 2 of Phillies and Dodgers. Early lead, and while it was close until the 9th inning when it wasn't close and when the leading team pulled away. It's basically the same song and story for what was seen, and a much-needed win for the Tigers. The Mariners now on the outside of the AL West with the Astros retaking the division lead after their win of the series over the Texas Rangers in the Lone Star Series 6-4. This battle may be one to watch between the Astros and Mariners. I know most of the baseball community wants the Mariners to take that division. I just feel like for both the Astros and the Mariners, they may be extremely flawed, but whoever wins this division is going to be the only one from the AL West making it to the playoffs, from what it seems. Going to be more and more noting for the Mariners how they fare when they get Crawford and Rodriguez back into the lineup.
Yeah, because again, Alec, as you mentioned, as we get into our postgame and we'll wrap up, it all comes down to whether or not Crawford and Rodriguez be able to bolster up this lineup a little bit to score some more runs. That is what they need right now. And if I have to guess, it's not because the Astros now have a full game lead in the AL West. But if you ask me, Alec, honestly, I'm going to give it to the Astros because when you have guys like Altuve, Bregman, Alvarez, those are guys that consistently hit the cover off the ball. And right now, the Mariners don't have that.
They don't. They need, and that's the importance of both Crawford and Rodriguez on the line. They need to get another one of those big players on the help their hitting department.
Yeah, they got to find something, and they're going to have to do it quickly. We understand we still got September and bleeding into October. And the one thing I'll lead in for the M's before I sign off here, they only have one more series against the Houston Astros. So that's one 3-game series. The rest of this is going to have to be done by committee. And really, the M's, they don't have a difficult schedule over the next few weeks. But if they keep playing like this, they're going to keep digging themselves an early grave. So they got to salvage something tomorrow. And the Tigers, I mean, they'll just look toward next year and see what happens, to be honest with you, see if they can build some chemistry. So the short answer here for me, Alec, is this. I'm going to try to get one more game this weekend. I'm not sure what you're doing, but I'll be in touch with you. And as far as next week, I will be around probably between Tuesday and Wednesday. The weekend I'll have the race. So I'll try to be in contact with you. Maybe we'll get a baseball game in.
Yeah, we'll stay in touch here. So as for what I'm knowing of, Friday I'm staring at Astros and Red Sox for that game.
That sounds good. I might be able to join in with you on a Friday or Saturday side and see. If I'm around, it might not be the whole game, but I can join in for that.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll see you. You take care.
Take care.
This evening,
So I did have Alec Nava here with me through most of this game, and guys, it was ended up a pretty good one. The Tigers able to blow the brakes off the Mariners toward the end of it. They get 3 runs in the ninth, and that kind of pushes this the other way. And Tigers take the series against the M's. The M's only got one more here. They got Wu going tomorrow against TBD for Detroit, and it's done right now. Tigers win this series. Tarik Skubal, he was his typical self. He had 7 dominant, only gave up 2 runs. And that catch by Parker Meadows, holy cow, that was one of the plays of the night. And you'll see that all over. Talk to you guys later this week. See you.